Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto snaps at hiruzen council bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by KILLSWITCH 616, link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Today's inspirational music coming undone by Korn, see you on the other side. Humans talking 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Human thoughts 3, 4, lock your door. Demon summon talking 5, 6, grab your crucifix. Demon summon thought 7, 8, stay up late. Flashbacks 9, 10, never. Gonna. Sleep. Again. Ahahahaha. There is nothing to fear but fear himself. A dark night in Konohagakure no Sato, the only light over the hidden leaf village coming from the full moon above, civilians and shinobi alike sleeping soundly in their homes with their families and their lovers, some out on patrol to make sure the village stays safe. Out of the thousands that live in Konoha, 3 individuals were not sleeping soundly in their beds, one was cowering in the fetal position, the other 2 stomping the shaking form violently and repeatedly. "You damn beast." One of them said, his foot making solid contact with the form's arm. A wet snap resounded, the voice of a small child yelped in pain. "This is for my wife and son you murdered." The other said, swinging his leg and making contact with the child's unprotected face, sending him a couple feet into the air and hitting the brick wall of the alley with a thud. I never did anything to you," the child said, trying to crawl out of the trash he landed in. He hissed in pain every time he moved. A foot connected with his spiky blonde hair and his face was slammed into the ground. A heavy foot came down on his ribcage and another came down on his shoulder. He yelped again as he felt his shoulder dislocate. "You murder hundreds of innocent people in your attack, you possess the body of a child to protect yourself, and now you try and deceive us, telling us you've done no wrong when you have the blood of thousands staining your hands. You sick monster." The man stood of the boy, accentuating each accusation with a stomp to the boy's body. The blonde could only cry as he lay there, his body screaming at him to run, a nagging feeling in the back of his mind telling him to fight back, when in reality, he could do neither. "We don't have much time, those Anbu will be by any minute to check on the kid, it's time we finish what the Yondaime started." The blonde boy winced in pain as he was picked up by his hair, past the blurriness of his vision, he could see the shine of the moon off of a steel blade that was making its way towards him, and he could feel it at his neck, the tip barely piercing the skin. He tried to call for help, but his attempt was halted as the blade sliced his jugular and vocal cords in one clean cut. The young boy's eyes widened as he desperately gasped for air, but he could bring the precious oxygen into his lungs. All he felt was his slowly numbing body hit the ground, the warm life-giving liquid running down his neck and staining his clothes. He could see the liquid begin to pool around him and his 2 attackers run away from the scene. "Is this how I'm going to die bleeding in an alley?" the young boy thought. This was Naruto Uzumaki, 9 years of age, spiky blonde hair matted with blood, azure blue eyes from which the light was slowly beginning to fade. His body growing colder, the world around him spinning, in a last-ditch effort to save himself, he tried to call out, forgetting that his throat had been sliced, but no sound, only darkness. "You're not going to be dying today, kid, I've got a promise to keep." Naruto's world went black. Naruto's mind, kill the demon. Spill his blood. Drive a stake through his heart. Amazing, even in my damn dreams I'm not safe, Naruto thought as he ran from the massive shadowed figures chasing after him. Nothing distinguishing a figure from the other than the weapon they had in hand. So this is death, one long never-ending nightmare, fantastic, Naruto thought as he continued to run as fast as his little legs would carry him. Ahahahaha. Naruto stopped, as did the crowd. That laughter, that psychotic laughter sent chills to the very core of his being, his throat seized, breathing becoming a difficult task, his heartbeat sped up, surprising since he thought he was dead. A hand burst from the ground, it was severely burned, the flesh pink and leathery. It was armed with a glove with 5 long, razor-sharp metal blades on each finger. Naruto's eyes widened in fear as the fingers slowly moved and the sounds of bones popping reached his ears. The hand comically moved around, as if looking for something to grab onto. It eventually found the ground, it pressed itself to the ground, and more came up. The arm was sleeved and stripped red and green. Ah! Another arm burst from the ground, and a bald, severely scarred and burned head rose up. Sigh, oh yeah. Feels good, ahahaha. There was that laugh again. Naruto was rooted to the spot, he wanted so much to run away, run as far away as possible from this thing. He hopped up as he freed himself from the ground. Guess what world, Freddy's back in town. Ahahahaha. He laughed maniacally. What is this guy? I can't breathe, Naruto thought. The man stood up, stretching and cracking every bone in his body. "Aw man. I hate long distance travel, get so fucking stiff, ah. That's better," he sighed as he turned his head completely around on his shoulders. He looked around and his eyes rested on Naruto, a grin spread across his face, his scarred skin stretched. Fresh meat, he said, his bloodshot light blue eyes looking over the child. Been a while since this bad boy got to taste blood, he mumbled to himself as he flexed his clawed hand. Before he could do anything, a large rock struck him in the head, green blood running down the side of his head from the gash that quickly healed. Now that wasn't very nice, Freddy said as he turned his attention on the civilians. Now we have 2 demons to kill. The rock thrower yelled, the crowd cheering and showing the various weapons they held. Freddy grinned and reached behind his back, pulling a black hat out of nowhere. Time to slice and dice. He said, pausing for a moment, and he held up a finger. 1 second he walked over to Naruto and turned him around, so he was looking at the crowd and petted his head. Alright, show time. The man known as Freddy sped towards the crowd, in the blink of an eye, slayed 5 of them, his claw passing through their stomachs and ripping through their intestines like hot knives through butter. Kill him. Attack. Freddy sped into the crowd, cutting through them with swiftness and agility that could rival one of the Jonin of Konoha. Naruto wanted to vomit as he saw the blood splattered across the ground, buildings and windows. The bile was caught in his throat. Screams of pain and fear and Freddy's maniacal laughter were growing louder and louder every second as the slaughter continued. Ahahaha. Oh boy. I have missed this feeling. My claw ripping through human skin. Ahahaha. What a thrill. Freddy took a long strand of intestines from one of his disemboweled victims and tied it in a loop and spun it over his head like a lasso, tossing it and catching 5 civilians. With a strong pull, he tore them in half from the waist. Their upper bodies flew through the air and knocked down more, the civilians surrounding him. He flexed his clawed hand, blood dropping to the ground below drop by drop. Drip drip drip. The sound was absolutely maddening in the dead silence. Who's next? Make it stop, sob, someone please make it stop. Naruto thought, tears streaming down his cheeks. He couldn't take it anymore. All of the screams, they echoed in his ears, the blood, the very sight, despite having seen his own countless times, but never in such quantity, made him want to vomit. The smell was all too real for any simple nightmare. He just wanted it all to end. He got his wish. Hey. Freddy turned around with his clawed hand still inside a man's stomach. The dream world melted around them. Oh. Come on, I'm not done yet. Freddy whined. He tried clawing at his melting figure's victims, but it just passed through them. The blood, the bodies, all of his beautiful work, in his opinion, was disappearing right before his eyes. As soon as the dream completely melted, they were standing in a sewer-like setting. Behind Naruto was a massive cage, held together by a single slip of paper with the kanji for seal on it. Who the fuck are, ah damn it, it's Freddy. A large pair of blood-red eyes opened up inside of the massive cage. In the light, it had the shape of fox with long rabbit-like ears, 9 flowing tails. He grinned, damn right, Freddy Krueger's my name, and slashing is my game, but of course you know that. He said, giving a mocking bow and taking off his hat. The Kyuubi glared at the dream demon, the giant fox sniffed at the air. Dream demons tch, the pawn scum of hell, get out. Now. Freddy just grinned. He nonchalantly looked at his claw, turning his hand and inspecting it for no real reason. And what are you gonna do if I don't? The Dream Master asked. Kyuubi growled at the child killer. He knew about Freddy and his past life, everyone did, no one liked the fucking prick in hell. He was a damned soul who gave in to those parasitic dream demons. And despite Freddy being a fairly strong being and hell being a place where power is highly respected and filled with hundreds of thousands if not millions of damned souls, no one down there liked child killers. Freddy was public enemy number 1. The Dream Master grinned wider and looked directly into Kyuubi's eyes. He started walking towards Naruto. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, the man known as Freddy said in a sing-song voice. 3, 4, lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, stay up late. 9, 10, never gonna sleep again. He stopped singing right in front of Naruto. Time's up, what are you gonna do now? Freddy raised his clawed hand to kill little Naruto, who was looking up into his eyes with a blank expression. The scene changed around Freddy and he felt something wrap around his hand, tightening to the point of breaking his wrist. He looked up feeling a strong heat. A smaller Kyuubi with fire around his ankles and at the tips at the tails as well as on his forehead like a crown stood in front of him now, glaring straight into his eyes. Kick your ass. Ah fuck, Freddy was whipped through the air and slammed head first into the ground behind Kyuubi, his body going limp. Don't worry Kushina, no one is going to hurt him as long as I'm still breathing, I owe you that much. Kyuubi thought, remembering his former red-headed Jinchuriki. Who are you? Naruto questioned. Kyuubi looked down to see the short blonde looking up at him. An acquaintance, now stay back, this is going to get messy. Kyuubi said. Naruto just nodded and took a seat on a rock. Kyuubi turned around to see Freddy's limp body sticking out of the ground, his head underground. Whistles that must have hurt. Kyuubi merely looked to his right to see Freddy leaning against a tree, the other body exploded in a shower of green goo. The heat intensified around Kyuubi so much that the goo evaporated a few feet away. Mad? Freddy asked with a tilt of his head. What do you think? Kyuubi's form started change and he became human, wearing a red shirt under a black tunic, a red obi sash around his waist with loose black pants, red tap around his ankles. His skin was tanned with 3 whisker marks on his cheeks and long red spiky hair and long pointed ears. The fire around his wrists and ankles and over his forehead. His blood-red eyes were trained on the dream demon. Their surroundings had changed to a stone plateau with a single tree dangling on the edge. Mountains surrounded them in every direction with thick blue clouds as well, something Naruto guessed was his chakra. "I'm going to send you right back to hell where you belong, you piece of shit," Kyuubi growled. Freddy dropped into a fight stance, slashing the air with his claw a couple times and waved Kyuubi forward. "Bring it on, furball." In a burst of speed, Kyuubi appeared in midair and spun around, his foot connecting with the side of Freddy's head. Kyuubi flipped back as Freddy spun around and around on his shoulders. He raised his hands and stopped himself. He let go and his body started spinning rapidly. Ahahahaha. He laughed maniacally as he sped towards Kyuubi, who blocked a hit and was knocked away as Freddy pushed forward. Freddy stopped and hopped into the air and brought his claw down, piercing the stone ground they stood on as Kyuubi stepped back. The fire demon kicked Freddy in the face and lunged forward with 2 quick punches. Another sent Freddy rolling along the ground. "Those stupid tricks of yours aren't going to work on me, Freddy." "What? I'm just trying to spice this fight up," Freddy said as he got up, his limbs at very weird angles from Kyuubi's hit, his bones snapped in place and he rolled his shoulders. Kyuubi bared his fangs and opened his fists, his claws ready to rip the dream demon apart. The 2 combatants sped towards each other and clashed again, Freddy's speed and agility matching Kyuubi's, a single claw clashing with Kyuubi's too. The fox demon slashed Freddy across his face and hopped in the air, planting both feet in Freddy's chest and sending him rolling back. The dream demon hopped to his feet and ran his tongue along the index finger blade. Kyuubi disappeared in a burst of speed, striking Freddy with a powerful right hook and sending him rolling across the ground. Freddy hopped up and blocked a flying kick, Kyuubi kicked off, and the moment he landed on the ground, sped forward and struck Freddy in the sternum with the tip of his elbow, spinning in place, and struck him in the face with his heel, with a spinning back kick. "I should have known pawns scum like you and those damn dream demons wouldn't present much of a challenge for me. I knew I should have destroyed them when I had a chance," Kyuubi spat. A dark aura appeared around Freddy and he turned around, vomiting green blood, his body started morphing, 3 separate places in his face, right shoulder and stomach were moving. "Well this has never happened before, ahahahahahhhhh." Freddy's maniacal laughter turned into pained screams of pure agony. The skin and muscle ripped open and skull stuck appeared. "Greetings," the head started. "Kyuubi-sama," said the shoulder. "It is wonderful day to die," said the abdomen. "Wouldn't you say?" they said in unison. "DCH, for you maybe," Kyuubi said. "What are you and your little puppet doing here? I explicitly forbade any demons from coming to the human world and starting mischief when I took the throne, even in absence. My word is law. After you were sealed away, many demons became restless," said the head. "Us included, after so many years, no one could take it," said the abdomen. Fighting ensued, mass killings, uprisings. When the strongest claimed the throne, he was incinerated, and that is when we knew," said the shoulder. "We had to kill you to truly claim the throne," they all said in unison. Freddy was still, before disappearing in a burst of speed. Kyuubi's eyes widened as Freddy's clawed glove was centimeters from his face. He was struck and sent flying across the rock. He slid to a stop and launched into the air as the dream demon sped towards him, his claw tearing through the ground. Freddy dived away as Kyuubi came down with an axe kick. "You," the head started. "Pull the shoulder." "Die." All 3 skulls said. Freddy sent Kyuubi flying through the air with a powerful spinning kick to his face. Kyuubi hit and tore through the ground. Freddy appeared in the air and came crashing down with an elbow to Kyuubi's spine. "Aga. Kami, damn it," Kyuubi said. Freddy grabbed onto his hair and swung him overhead and slammed him into the ground, spinning him around and throwing him away. Kyuubi hitting the ground. Freddy appeared and tossed Kyuubi's body into the air with a vicious kick to his side and sent him rolling away with a slash across his abdomen. Freddy shot high into the air and came down hard just as Kyuubi rolled on his back. Naruto shielded his eyes from the shock wave and coughed a bit as a cloud of dust rolled by. He looked up as the dust cleared to Freddy standing with one foot on Kyuubi's chest, the fire demon unmoving. Ahahahahaha. Freddy and his skulls laughed maniacally. "Now who's the king, Kyuubi? Now who is the fucking pawn scum?" the skulls yelled in unison. Naruto's eyes widened in fear as Freddy turned his attention on him. But a grin then spread across the whiskered blonde's face as Freddy started walking towards him. Freddy saw this and heard multiple clacks against the ground and pain in his stomach. He looked down to see a flame-tipped orange tail sticking out of his stomach. Half of the abdomen skull was shattered, its face stuck in a silent scream. "I will always be king, even in here. As for the pawn scum, that spot is reserved for you, Freddy, you and your little friends." The dream demon turned around to see Kyuubi standing as if nothing happened, 9 tails flowing behind him. How? I'm a fox, deceiving people is what we do. Kyuubi said. He whipped Freddy into the air and then back down, creating a large dent in the ground. Freddy was tossed into the air. Kyuubi quickly morphed into his fox form and launched himself into the air above Freddy, putting both of his hands together. He struck Freddy in the stomach and sent him crashing into the ground once again. Pain. Goryuka no Jutsu. Fire release. Great Dragon Fire Technique. Kyuubi inhaled deeply and exhaled powerful flames shaped like dragons. They came down with great speed and exploded on impact. Freddy's screams could be heard inside the fire and his body was seen thrashing around. Pain. Nensho Karasu. Fire release. Burning crash. Kyuubi moved his tail so the tips were touching. The flames grew and grew. He shot down and came crashing down on the dream demon in explosion of flames and debris. Wow. Naruto mumbled, his previous fears forgotten. The blonde always loved a good fight when it didn't involve him against someone 5 times his size, that is. Kyuubi jumped from the flames and landed a few feet away. The flames were still burning brightly, a shadow stood inside the flames and a bloody Freddy walked out, his clawed glove ablaze. The skulls were on fire as well. We will not lose. The 3 skulls roared as the clawed glove shot forward as his arm extended. Kyuubi sidestepped it and his jaw came down and severed Freddy's hand from his arm. It rolled away and the glove came off, rolling in front of Naruto. Ahhh. My hand. The skulls yelled in unison. A breeze rolled by and Freddy's hat blew onto Naruto's head. No more regeneration, huh? Wonderful. Kyuubi grinned and grew in size. You're done. Kyuubi roared as he pounced on the dream demon and tore into his abdomen with his fangs, taking a large chunk as well as one of the demons. There are more, Kyuubi-sama, we're not the only ones aiming for the throne. Freddy yelled. He hit Kyuubi on the snout trying to stop him, but to no avail. The fox quirked an eyebrow but let it slide. Like I said, you're done. Kyuubi tore Freddy to pieces as he devoured the dream demon. A dark aura appeared around Kyuubi. Naruto the young blonde looked up from the glove in his hand to the fox. It's time to wake up. Naruto's eyes widened as there was a bright flash of light and the world went white. Reality, ah. Naruto woke with a start, he jumped up, his body completed after the beating he took, he looked around, he could hear 2 somethings hit the ground, he looked down as he felt where the knife went through his neck and he could feel the softer skin of the scar. He looked down to see the 4-bladed claw glove and the black hat. Was all that. He never finished the question as a sharp pain shot through his body, he fell back in pain as a dark aura surrounded his body, he curled into a ball as he shook from the immense pain, his azure blue eyes rolling to the back of his head. The realm of unconsciousness claimed another, Naruto's mind. Kyuubi sat in the center of the stone plateau, a dark around emitting from him as well, the dark energy mixing in with the blue clouds and bright flashes similar to lightning was seen within. Sorry about this, kid, but it'll pass. Kyuubi mumbled. After absorbing the dream demons into himself, he decided to put them to use, using their power and merging it with Naruto in a way. Kushina would freaking kill me if she saw this happening, Kyuubi mumbled as he focused on speeding up the merging process. Reality, it hurts. Naruto hissed in pain, clutching his chest, his sclera becoming bloodshot as the pain increased with each passing second. No more fear. The spiky-haired blonde heard a distorted voice in his head. He unconsciously started beating his head against the side of a building, doing anything he could to take his mind off of the pain in his body. He never noticed the lights coming on from the door a few feet ahead of him. Do not fear them. Naruto seemed to be in a daze, his right hand subconsciously reached for the bladed glove on the ground. Who the hell is out here? A man called as he walked outside, he saw the bluish-purple flaming aura around a small body. Upon closer inspection, he sneered, seeing that it was the Kyuubi. He was close to laughing seeing it in pain, trying to bash its own head in, almost. He reached back inside and took out a tanto. Now's my chance to become a hero in the village, I'll be set for life. He said happily. Make them fear you. Naruto let out a cry of anguish, the aura around him dispersing and creating a strong shock wave. The civilian was thrown through the air and just outside of the alleyway. The hell? He said, his eyes widened in fear at what he saw. Naruto stumbling partially into the light, his head was down, his eyes shadowed by his hair. Naruto looked up, his eyes had gone from their natural ocean blue to dark purple, with red slits for pupils. The smile he wore grew into a psychotic grin, his canines longer than normal. The civilian had half a mind to run for his life until his feet bled, but he was rooted to the spot, unable to break eye contact with the blonde. Naruto raised his right arm, the weathered material over his hand, and the steel blade shining in the light of the moon, the shadows around his feet shifting. He chuckled darkly, hands shot from the darkness, the man could not scream as one covered his mouth, he was dragged into the shadows, his fingers digging ruts through the ground. Naruto backed up into the shadows. A bloodied hand reached out to claw its way out, but was dragged back in. Ah hell, hang on kid, it'll be over soon. Kyuubi mumbled. He had expected this to happen. The integration of the Dream Demon's dark energy in Naruto's system had started the normal side effect of such a process, the energy itself temporarily changing the host's state of mind and by extension, the host, until they could break the control. Ashina would fucking kill me for this. Damn right I would. An angry female voice reached Kyuubi's ears. He was shocked to hear a voice he thought was lost, but at the same time, he was frightened. Oh hell no. Kyuubi said, his tails being sheathed in flames and wrapping around his body like a protective cocoon, a multi-layered barrier of flame surrounding him as well. That's not going to save you. Naruto walked out into the light of the moon once again, blood dripping from the claw, with a flick of his wrist, the red life liquid sprayed across the ground, not a drop on the steel blades. Naruto's dark purple eyes looked up into the full moon. You murdered hundreds of innocent people in your attack, you possessed the body of a child to protect yourself, and now you try and deceive us, saying you have done no wrong when you have the blood of thousands staining your hand. You sick monster. Those last 3 words echoed in Naruto's mind and a wide grin spread across his face, remembering that he had seen one of their faces. A sick monster all right. His voice was slightly distorted, psychotically could be seen behind his eyes. He flexed his clawed hand as he placed a black hat on his head. 1-2 Naruto's coming for you haha. The child walked into the shadowed walls and disappeared. A few moments later 3 shinobi wearing porcelain masks in the form of an animal appeared. The ox looked down at his feet, a line of splattered blood. He crouched and dabbed his fingers into it. Fresh. The dog mask sniffed the air. There's more. He let loose a shuriken, cutting a lantern down from the overhead wire, the light landing in his hand. He illuminated what wasn't by the moon. The owl and ox stepped back. There's a faint signature ox. I want you to stand watch for civilians who may be up, rope of the scene, and make sure no one sees this. Owl, get the medical examiner, bag him and tag him if he can figure out who it is. Dog said, setting the lantern on the ground. What are you going to do, dog senpai? Ox asked. The Anbu with gravity-defying silver hair walked past his subordinates without a word, disappearing via shunshin and leaving them to their work. Unknown location. I'm going to be treated like a god when they finally find that damned monster, a man said as he took of his chunin vest, entering his home. He placed the flak jacket on his nightstand and stretched. He walked towards his dresser and picked up a photograph. It was of him with a woman around the same age and a boy around 10 or 11, all of them were smiling happily. That monster took everything from me. He got what he deserved, and that child's soul can rest in peace, he said to himself as he sat on the end of his bed, looking at the photo. He never saw the hand slowly move from underneath or the steel blade attached to the outstretched finger. In one swift move, the blade severed the Achilles tendon at the back of the ankle, blood gushing from the open wound. Ah. Damn it. The man cried out in pain. The shock of the cut caused him to forget where it was. He tried to stand, only to fall, his head catching the edge of the dresser. He hit the ground, his world spinning and head throbbing. He could see blood still pouring from the wound in his ankle. The shadowed figure snaked its way out from under his bed, his eyes widened in terror as he saw spiky blonde hair in the light of the moon coming in his window just before it placed a black hat on its head. Stop it, damn it. Naruto screamed in his own head, but his body continued to move. No. No. You're supposed to be dead. The man said loudly. The blonde gave a tilt of his head and threw his arms out moments later. Well, obviously you didn't do a very good job, Naruto said, his voice slightly distorted. The chunin tried to crawl away, seeing the dark purple eyes and red slit pupils glowing in the darkness. Naruto was in his face in the blink of an eye, tilt his head curiously. When the chunin was about to strike the Jinchuriki, when Naruto stabbed both of his hands with the tanto he had concealed under his bed, sticking them to the floor. Fuck. Rot in hell, you little bastard. The chunin said loudly. His yells of pain were silenced as the blonde stuck one of the steel blades into his mouth, lightly tugging at the corner. Stop it. Naruto yelled a little more forcefully. Why so serious? A large grin threatened to split the blonde's face smile. The blonde cut through the man's cheek and swiftly through the other side. Even as he screamed in pain, he wore a large bloody smile on his face. Naruto forced the chunin to look at him. We're not done yet. He said gleefully. Pulling his head forward and bashing it against the wall, Naruto raised the claw and started tearing at his body, making shallow cuts over fatal areas and cutting to the bone on major tendons and gashes on non-fatal arteries, completely avoiding veins. He raised his hand once again, a bluish-purple, flame-like horror covered the bloody claw. Akumuten. Akumu no Imna Hando, Nightmare Release. Nightmare Hand. He reached out to grasp the chunin's hand who tried to escape, but he couldn't move any of his limbs. Stop now. Naruto roared, his voice broke through the control, and his now bloodied hand froze over his head, the chunin looking at him in utter terror. His dark purple eyes turned back to azure blue, and his eyelids became heavy. Naruto. Dog appeared just as Naruto collapsed, the black hat falling off of his head. Hospital. Dog, report. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage, the third fire shadow, who reclaimed the title after the Yondaime's death, appeared in a hospital room via Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker technique. He looked from the dog-masked, silver-haired Anbu to the unconscious Naruto laying in a hospital bed. Yes, Hokage-sama, I, and my Anbu rookies, Ox and Owl, came upon the scene after finishing our nightly rounds of the village, going to make a quick stop to see if Naruto was safe. We were held up by a disturbance, but it turned out to be nothing more than a lover's quarrel over some nonsense, no abuse. I felt Naruto's chakra signature begin to fade, and upon arriving, Naruto was nowhere to be found, but the first victim was mutilated and dead on arrival. The Anbu said. Sarutobi nodded. Yes, what happened after that? The Hokage questioned. I picked up on Naruto's chakra signature once again, it was faint but unmistakable, except for the darker feel in it. I followed as best as I could and was about to go for assistance when a nearby scream alerted me to the scene where Naruto had lost consciousness seconds later and the Chunin bleeding out from multiple non-fatal wounds. He is alive, but he may never be a shinobi again due to the physical, and he received the Anbu said. I see, tell me, did the seal seem any different? Sarutobi asked, lowering the sheets to look at Naruto's stomach, a black swirl surrounded by 8 branches of intricate markings on him clear as day. No Hokage-sama, the only thing that was strange was the item found with Naruto dog said, taking out the scroll and unsealing the blood-stained claw glove. This was the weapon he used. Dog nodded. Sarutobi sighed. I see, look after him, will you dog-san, I've got some things I need to do. Said the Sandaime. Of course, Hokage-sama. The Sandaime disappeared. The silver-haired Anbu Black Ops looked at the unconscious child. Another one of those days, huh Naruto? Naruto groaned in his sleep and the Anbu chuckled. He unsealed an orange book. Rest up kid, you're probably going to need it for tomorrow. But Sarutobi, members of the Shinobi Council, I thank you for coming here today. There are important matters that we need to discuss. The Sandaime was interrupted by the doors to the council chamber opening and the members of the civilian council walking in, led by a pink-haired woman. I am sorry that we are late, Hokage-sama, the incompetent Anbu did not inform us of the meeting earlier, the woman said. Sakari Haruno, I would appreciate it if you didn't insult my Anbu, and as for the meeting, you and the other members of the civilian council were not informed because this is not your meeting, it is a shinobi matter that will only be discussed between shinobi. Well, I am sorry Hokage-sama, but a council meeting is a council meeting, civilian and shinobi alike, we have just as much as right to be here and will have our voices heard on the matter, a man said. The others nodded and grunted in agreement. No, you won't. No, you won't, Sarutobi said. The Shinobi Council and civilians looked at him strangely. What a fat civilian asked. You will not be sitting on this meeting, this is a shinobi matter as I said, civilians such as yourselves are not to be concerned with it, Sarutobi said, that goes for you too as well, Hamura, Kaharu, Sarutobi said. Hokage-sama, you can't be serious, this is a council matter, we have just as much say as the shinobi do, Sakari spoke up. If this meeting was concerning the village's economical standing or ways to help the local businesses, then I would agree with you, but this meeting is of a different caliber. Now, I ask you again, please leave these council chambers immediately, Sarutobi said. The Shinobi Council had worried looks on their faces. Any experienced shinobi could tell when one of their own was holding back their emotions and was about to blow. That had been Sarutobi's case since the civilians walked in. Hiruzen, please, think about what you are saying, Hamura said. Sarutobi was done. The old monkey got up and grabbed one of the civilians by the back of his collar and dragged him towards the door. He opened it. He held the man up and let go, swinging his leg forward and kicking him through the wall. The man getting up moments later and stumbling away, the action alone shocked many on the civilian council, but they kept their mouths shut, not wanting to be next. That is Hokage-sama to you, Mitokado-san, and I am thinking, quite clearly in fact. I am truly sick and tired of the civilian council thinking that they can go over my head on decisions that only shinobi should be making for Konohagakure, that they hold more power than I do, the same goes to my advisors, Sarutobi spat. What are you talking about, Hiruzen? The civilian portion of the council has never done such as that, they speak their voice as to help the civilian population of this village, and no more, and why, might I ask, are you accusing us of such? Kaharu Udatane asked. You honestly expect me to believe that bull? The civilians have been making deals behind my back since the day Minato passed, and I reclaimed this title, and I have been lenient as no such dealings could cause any potential harm to Konoha or anyone in it. You two have also been seen making rather shady dealings and in truth, I do not like it, Sarutobi said. Do you have any proof of these accusations, Hiruzen? Hamura asked. A tick mark appeared on Sarutobi's forehead. I don't need any fucking proof, I know what I've seen, and my Anbu know what they have seen, and none of us lack it. This is my one and only warning to all of you, my Anbu will be trailing you, the feeling that you're being watched during one of your dealings, that will be them, they find one discrepancy you will be immediately removed from the council, and if it calls for it, publicly executed, Sarutobi said. The civilians were looking at him as if he had lost his mind. The shinobi were smirking. "Remember, this is your first and last warning. Now, for the last fucking time, get the fuck out of these council chambers or my Anbu, and I will kick you out." Sarutobi yelled, pointing towards the door. But Hawk. "No arguments. Move." Sarutobi said loudly. When none of the civilian council started moving, he sighed. Anbu 5 Anbu appeared. The shinobi council could actually feel them grinning, especially Tiger, who was leading the group. "Get to it, but escort the older ones out," Sarutobi said. The cat-masked Anbu with long purple hair actually hugged the Sandame. "Thank you, I apologize Hokage-sama," she said as she broke away. Sarutobi chuckled. "It is quite alright Cat-san, now as I said before, get to it." The Anbu disappeared via Shunshin and took civilians from the council stands and carried them towards the door before literally kicking them out. "Hokage-sama, this is outrageous." Sakari screeched. The Anbu carrying her stumbled a little bit but successfully kicked her out as well. "Are you okay?" Kat asked. It was Tiger who was carrying her. "What? Are you okay?" she said a little louder. "I can't hear you, speak up," Tiger said loudly. Kat just sighed and signed, saying he had temporary hearing loss. "Oh. Hiruzen. You can't do this." Homura said. "I'm the Hokage, my decisions are final, in other words, I sure as hell can," Sarutobi said with a wide grin. The two advisors were escorted out and most of the civilian council kicked out. Once they were all gone, the shinobi council, the 5 Anbu and the Anbu watching on from their vantage points and Sarutobi burst out laughing. A couple were trying to cover up chuckles really. "Ahem, as I was saying before being so rudely interrupted, I thank you all for coming, we have an important matter to discuss," Sarutobi said, coughing a couple times, trying to stop laughing. Konoha's shinobi council, consisting of the leaders of Konoha's various clans. Shikaku Nara, head of the Nara clan, Konohagakure's Jonin commander and a member of the last generation Ino Shikacho trio, himself being the Shika, his face marked by various battle scars and a bored look, his black hair styled in a spiky ponytail, giving his head the appearance of a pineapple. His clothes were torn and ragged, giving him the appearance of a bum, while he actually is a very skilled and powerful shinobi. Inoichi Yamanaka, head of the Yamanaka clan, and a respected member of Konoha's torture and interrogation department with a spotless track record. His hair was a dull blonde pulled back into a long ponytail. Taoza Akimichi, head of the Akimichi clan, Konoha's powerhouse clan, his red, spiky hair falling below his shoulders, his armor showing the kanji for eat on the front, in reference to his clan's ability to use the calories in food as a backup reserve for chakra. The Ashi Hyuga, head of the Hyuga clan, wielder of the prized Kekai Genkai, the Byakugan, wide eye, a Taijutsu that allows them to the chakra system inside their opponent's bodies and disrupt the flow with their Taijutsu. It also allows them to see 360 degrees in every direction. Hiashi had long brown that went past his shoulders and his face was dead serious. Tsume Inyazuka, matriarch of the Inyazuka clan, Konoha's most loyal and best tracker clan. A clan that prides itself on its partnership with dogs and their many skills involving collaborations with them. Her wild, spiky brown hair only added to her wild appearance. And Shibi Aburam, head of the Aburam clan, a clan that specializes in using insects that take refuge inside of their bodies, making them a living hive. He, like the rest of his clan, has a quiet demeanor, his face hidden by the high collar of his tan jacket and his eyes hidden by black shades. This particular meeting involves a resident of Konoha, Naruto Uzumaki, Sarutobi said. Now they were interested. With Naruto. Naruto's eyes fluttered open and azure eyes met blue sky. Naruto quickly sat up and looked around, he was on top of the stone plateau again. "Hey there Gaki." Naruto turned around to see Kyuubi sitting there. "Hey Kyuubi thanks for Naruto said while scratching the back of his head. "Don't mention it, anyway, I brought you here to ask if you've been feeling weird or anything since the incident." "No, I have to ask though, what the hell was that?" Naruto said loudly. "I'll be lucky if I don't get executed for that. I attacked a shinobi, damn it. Those assholes on the civilian council hate me enough as it is, I don't the shinobi on my ass too." Naruto said. Kyuubi could see the bags under Naruto's eyes, despite it technically wasn't Naruto doing the killing, the whiskered blonde had seen it all. These were the eyes of a killer. After I devoured Freddy, I absorbed the power of the demons that gave him power, the dream demons. Well, I thought they could be put to use, and immediately after, I started integrating their power into your chakra network, turning it into something similar to Demon Yakai, still with me?" Kyuubi explained. "I think so. So what now, what can the dream demons do exactly?" Naruto said. "Anyone using their power is able to invade dreams and bend it to their will, whatever they do in the dream happens in reality as well, kind of like a really advanced ninjutsu, which is what Freddy used, basically, anyone who is dreaming isn't safe from the dream demons," Kyuubi said. "What does that mean for me? Can I do all of that?" Naruto asked, sitting down on a rock. "In a way, yes, what I did is gave the powers a little more depth, you could say." Naruto quirked an eyebrow, and the fire demon decided to answer the oncoming question. When I merged their demon yokai to your chakra, it created a Kekai Genkai of sorts, 2 actually 3, if you want to be technical about Kyuubi said. What? Are you serious? I have 3 bloodlines. Naruto said excitedly. Yeah, you have some of Freddy's abilities, the ability to enter dreams, regeneration added on to my healing, your own physical abilities have increased too, Freddy was incredibly fast and agile, so there's that. The other is called Nightmare Release, the bloodline I created, it utilizes fear, whether yours or the opponent's, and makes it your weapon Kyuubi said. Sweet. Naruto grinned, what's the other? Dark Release, this Kekkei Genkai came with a Nightmare Release without my knowing, most likely from the Dream Demon's Demon Yokai, I don't much about that one actually. Naruto nodded, anything else you want to talk to me about? Naruto asked. Kyuubi seemed to hesitate and Naruto saw this. Yeah, your parents. Naruto's eyes widened, but I think she is more qualified for that. Naruto quirked eyebrow before turning around, all he saw was a flash of red and he was picked up in a strong hug. Naruto-kun. But Sarutobi, I know you are all completely aware of the burden Naruto holds, as well as the amount of raw power he is holding inside of himself because of it Sarutobi said, the council members nodded. Inoichi, if you would, please tell the rest of the council what you told me, involving the incident not long ago Sarutobi said. The Yamanaka head nodded and stood up to address the rest of the council. Only an hour ago, an incident occurred involving Naruto Uzumaki and a Chunin of Konoha. The first mind I looked into was of the Chunin found at the scene. He and one other, whose face had somehow remained hidden, had attacked Naruto in the night, most likely during the meeting not long before this one. They left. Minutes later, he was attacked, his Achilles tendon being severed and Naruto showing himself. Naruto revealed a steel-clawed glove and started attacking him with frightening precision, completely avoiding arteries Inoichi said. Sarutobi unsealed the glove from the scroll Inu had given him. What was strange was that Naruto used a strange ninjutsu, the abilities of the technique are uncertain, as Naruto stopped before being able to truly use it. I examined Naruto's mind next, his memories that is, using a special technique from my clan, he was left for dead after the attack, slipping into unconsciousness and a nightmare occurring, but this nightmare had a visitor. The Kyuubi? Sum asked. Inoichi shook his head no. No, this was something else, it was some kind of demon, it went by the name Freddy Krueger. This creature was something even the bravest Jonin may fear. Normally one wouldn't be able to interfere with one's dreams, demon or not, even the Yamanaka clan do not have that skill. Eventually the dream melted away, and there was the Kyuubi in its cage, the two knew each other somehow, and after a moment, Freddy went to slay Naruto, but the scenery changed yet again, and the Kyuubi and Freddy fought Inoichi said, taking in a breath after the long explanation. The clan heads were shocked. I had the same reaction, Freddy's techniques, it almost seemed as if him being there was an advanced ninjutsu, he was manipulating his body in ways that even seems impossible for a demon. After a short bout, Kyuubi consumed Freddy, absorbing the demons inside of him in the process as it seemed, and Naruto woke up afterwards, Inoichi sighed. Thank you Inoichi, you may be seated the Sandame said. The Yamanaka head bowed and took his seat. Looking at both stories, it would seem as if Kyuubi somehow transferred the powers of this man, Freddy to Naruto, to what extent, I am not sure, but having both the raw power of Kyuubi and these mysterious powers of this man Freddy can only spell danger if left unchecked and untrained Sarutobi said. Okizama, it sounds as though you're beginning to think of Naruto as a weapon Shikaku chimed in. Please Shikaku-san, do not misread my motives, the untamed power Naruto wields is a possible danger to Konoha, but also to Naruto. At the academy, Naruto receives a less than adequate education, and at home, he is never safe, and I take full responsibility on both parts, my decisions were not the brightest. If this continues, Naruto may eventually snap, I am surprised he has not already, I am here to ask if any of you would like to step up and train the boy properly, adoption, I'm afraid, is still not an option, but for now, as long as he can protect himself, I can sleep easy at night, knowing he is at least safe from harm. The Shinobi Council looked between one another and Tsum was the one to stand up. I'll do it, with the Kyuubi inside of him, we can assume that he has senses on par or even better than the Inyazuka said the matriarch. Sarutobi nodded, Shikaku and Chaozu stood up as well. I'll teach Naruto about strategy and trap setting, he's a trickster, so that will help him greatly, the Nara clan head said. Sarutobi nodded in agreement. And I'll teach him about cooking, how to find food in the field, and what is and what isn't appropriate, always a useful skill in the field Chaozu said. A useful skill indeed, then it is decided, I will tell Naruto of this decision when he awakens, that is all for today, you're dismissed Sarutobi said. The council stood up and bowed, all of them disappearing via Shunshin. Sarutobi sighed and walked out of the door. With Naruto, the whiskered blonde's eyes opened, he winced seeing the bright white tile, the smell of ammonia reached his nose. That detail alone was a dead giveaway that he was in the hospital, the white, headache-inducing ceiling tiles were just a bonus. Hey Naruto, glad to see you're awake. Naruto didn't have to look to know that it was the silver-haired dog Anbu. He had heard giggling a moment before he woke up and he knew that bored tone he spoke in. The whiskered blonde was silent. Flashback. Naruto was released from the woman's death hug. He was breathing heavily, happily accepting oxygen back into his lungs. He finally got a good look at the woman before him and something in the far reaches of his mind told him she was familiar somehow. She had long deep red hair down to her butt, violet eyes and fair skin with a heart-shaped face. She wore black spandex shorts that ended at her knees and an orange and black jacket with a red swirl over the left breast. He remembered the swirl as it was same one on the back of his neon orange "Kill Me Now" jacket he was wearing. The woman's expression softened and Naruto could see tears brimming in her eyes. "It is so good to see you again, Naruto," she said softly, this time bringing the whiskered blonde into a light embrace. The blonde could feel the tears wetting his shoulder. Not to be rude, but who are you and how do you know my name and why do I feel like I've met you before?" Naruto asked, those being the topmost questions on his list, a majority of the rest were for Kyuubi. The woman broke away and wiped the tears away with her sleeve. "That's okay Naruto, my name is Kushina Uzumaki." Naruto's eyes widened. "I'm your mother," she said, beaming a bright and familiar smile as tears began to stream down her cheeks again. A genuine smile spread across Naruto's face at that moment, Kyuubi smiling in the background. The whiskered blonde embraced his mother in a tight hug, the two of them crying tears of joy. Flashback end. Naruto let a single tear escape as a small smile spread across his face. "Hey Naruto, are you okay?" The silver-haired Anbu asked. Naruto had been absolutely silent for the last few minutes, just blankly staring up at the ceiling. The young blonde sat up and started taking off any bandages that he had. "Yeah, I'm okay dog-san." Naruto hopped out of bed and stretched a moment to get rid of the stiffness in his limbs and to get the blood flowing again after being out for so long. "Where are you going Naruto?" Dog asked, getting out of his seat. "I need to clear my head, don't follow me okay, tell Hokage Gigi that I'm at the construction site near my apartment if he comes by," Naruto said, closing the door behind him, leaving a speechless Anbu. "I hope knows I'm going to follow him anyway," the Anbu said to himself, disappearing via Shunshin, leaving a clone behind. "Saiburing," the clone said as it leaned back. Naruto sat on top of the topmost steel girder, his legs hanging over the edge of the 50-foot drop to the earth below. Other than the Hokage monument, after construction started at night, this was his favorite place to be, a perfect view of the moon. He looked to fourth Hokage's head. "Dusan." Now he knew why it was one of his favorite places. He scowled slightly looking at the stone face. Flashback. After a few minutes of crying and comforting one another, the two Uzumakis sat down to talk, Kyuubi there as well. Kushina had just explained what had happened 10 years ago and why she wasn't there today. Kyuubi could only bow his head in shame, not wanting to meet Naruto's gaze when his name was mentioned, not wanting to meet the gaze of the child whose life he had ruined. "Ah-san, if what you told me was true, then how are you here?" Naruto inquired. "Well, during Kyuubi's extraction, he unknowingly took a portion of my own soul with him, a small enough piece that I managed to live past the extraction and protect you, but big enough that it was able to become me. Memories included." Naruto stopped the fire demon. "I forgive you, it wasn't your fault anyway, hell, if it hadn't been for you healing me, those assholes would have." Naruto stopped for two reasons, the first being that he didn't want to bring up a subject like that with his mother around, having just met her, and the second and most important, Kushina hit him over the head. "Ooh. That was soft spot." Naruto whined. "Do not use that kind of language, young man." Kushina scolded him. Kyuubi snickered. You got smacked, gaha." "Ah, hell." Kyuubi hissed in pain as Kushina struck him on the head with a mallet. "Don't think I've forgotten about what happened to Naruto, and don't laugh at his pain, I basically gave birth to you both, so you will do as you're told, understood?" Kushina said, the two of them nodding quickly, but Kyuubi stopped. "Hold on, I'm the king of hell, I don't have to listen to Waigwa." Kyuubi's head was smashed into the ground again. "You were saying?" Kushina said with tick mark on her forehead, moving the mallet enough for Kyuubi to move his mouth. Naruto had recoiled in fear and he was sure even Freddy would have been scared of his mother. "Yes ma'am, understood." Kushina smirked and put the mallet behind her back where it disappeared. Kyuubi got up and rubbed his muzzle. Kushina sat down, Kyuubi scooted Naruto in front of himself as to use him for a shield next time. "Now, to get serious again, Naruto, I'm sure you'd love to know who your father is, right?" Kushina asked. Naruto nodded his head vigorously. Kushina smiled. He was none other than Konoha's Kuroi Senko, the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, the red-headed Uzumaki said. Naruto's smile disappeared. "You mean, my own father sealed the Kyuubi in me?" Naruto said. The Kyuubi and Kushina gave Naruto a worried look, the blonde's grip tightened so much on the rock he had picked up that it crumbled. "My own father made my life a living hell." "Naruto, please understand, he had no choice." Naruto interrupted her. "No choice? What do you mean no choice?" What kind of asshole seals a biju into their own kid and makes their life a living hell? Everyone was right, my father really didn't care a dot. Slap. Naruto was interrupted this time by a swift slap across his face from Kushina. He felt his cheek as the stinging pain started to grow, and he could feel the heat rising as well. Naruto. Minato loved you with all of his heart, I was not the only one to protect you from Kyuubi. He had no other options, Kyuubi couldn't be defeated and casualties were climbing by the second, sealing was the only option he had left and it broke his heart to even dream of such a thing. You know what he said to me, how can I expect someone to do something like this if I myself am too afraid? He didn't want to have to put another child, another family through it, he didn't want that, he could barely go through with sealing it into you, understand? Kushina was beginning to tear up again, and so was Naruto. His last wish for you to be seen as a hero, everything that happened Kushina stopped talking. Hell of a family reunion. Kyuubi mumbled as the two Uzumakis embraced each other in a hug once again. Shut up furball they said in unison. Flashback end, Naruto chuckled. If I ever see you, I'm kicking your ass. Naruto heard the distinct sound of Shunshin next to him. He didn't bother looking as he already knew who it was, he just kept looking at the yandame's head. What's up, Hokage Jiji-san? Naruto asked. You should really be in bed Naruto, you'll catch your death of cold out here, the sandame said as a cold breeze came by. Naruto chuckled again. Mom, I'm sorry you have to hear this Naruto thought. For 5 years I've been beaten, stabbed, stomped on, kicked, punched, my bones have been broken, and my organs have been tore apart, I've been burned, electrocuted and nearly drowned, if that hasn't killed me yet, a little cold isn't going to do shit to me Naruto said. Language? Kushina said. Naruto felt his head throb for a moment. I suppose not said Sarutobi, the old man sighed. Naruto, I need to ask you an important question, do you hate this village? If given the opportunity, would you leave? Would you take revenge on those who have wronged you? Naruto was silent for a moment. Do I hate this village? Well, I'd be lying if I said that I loved it. Would I leave? I can't give you a straight answer. I don't desire to be Hokage, not anymore, but this is still my home, even if it's not a very good one. Thank you for your honesty, and I respect your decision Naruto, though, I do wonder what could have been if you did finally take this mantle one day Sarutobi said, tipping his hat. As for the revenge Naruto was silent again. Yes? Sarutobi asked. No, because if I did, at least half of Konoha would be slaughtered, and I'm not that kind of kid, I won't give people the satisfaction of being right about calling me a demon and a murderer, I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and that's all there is to it, said the whiskered blonde. Kushina was crying tears of joy, and Kyuubi nodded his head in respect. So the Kyuubi told you of your heritage, did he? I am not surprised, he and Kushina had a very powerful bond Sarutobi said, taking a toke from his pipe that he had lit moments ago. How come you didn't tell me earlier about my parents? Naruto asked. It was a mistake Naruto, in my old age I made a very poor judgment, not knowing how you would handle the news, thinking you may do something rash, but now I see that I was wrong Sarutobi said. It hurt to know that you lied to me for so many years, it hurt a lot, Naruto said. Sarutobi tipped his hat again to shadow his face, so Naruto could not see the tears that were streaming down his wrinkled, liver-spotted cheeks. Will you forgive an old man for making such a foolish mistake? Eventually, Naruto stood up, eventually I will, because I know you were doing what you thought was right and never been one to hold a grudge. That is all I ask for. Here, Sarutobi handed Naruto a scroll. I hope you make the right decision Naruto, use this gift well, the whiskered blonde held the scroll tightly in his hand. Hey old man, don't add the Namikaze to my name, I'm in Uzumaki through and through the sandame nodded. Very well, and I want you to meet with Tsume and Yuzuka tomorrow after the academy, I will accompany you there, get home safely Naruto, and with that, the sandame Hokage disappeared. Naruto jumped from girder to girder on his way down. Naruto entered his apartment, whatever damage the two shinobi had caused had been cleaned up, his kitchen table had been broken in the scuffle and was replaced, there was another new one under the window, and his windows had been replaced with new ones for that matter. His couch had been replaced as well. It was like nothing ever happened. Thanks Jiji-san Naruto said, he walked over to the table by the window to see the hat, he picked it up. He saw movement out of the corner of his eye and looked of his window to see a burly man dragging a struggling woman into an alleyway. His eyes narrowed in anger and his blood started boil, his pupils became red slits again. Naruto Kyuubi started. Till him Kushina finished. He was definitely shocked to his mother tell him to do something like that, but he wholeheartedly agreed. He unrolled the scroll and poured a little chakra into it, the claw glove, refurbished, the blades clean and sharpened, the glove itself reinforced with thin steel on the outside, and note attached. A gift from a foolish old man, use it wisely a smirk spread across Naruto's face revealing sharpened fangs. He donned the hat and the glove. He raised his hand to his face so that light reflected off of the blades, hiding half of his face in the shadows. 1-2 Naruto's coming for you. The next morning, Hokage-sama, an ox-masked Anbu, appeared kneeling in front of the Hokage. Yes, what it is. The Anbu placed a file on his desk. These are the photographs from the crime scene. An anonymous message was delivered telling us the location, though it was not read until earlier this morning. A woman was nearly raped but saved by a dark figure, as she said. The man was dead upon arrival. His face and chest are the most unnerving details, said the Anbu. Sarutobi opened the folder. Photos of a body mutilated beyond physical recognition, long gashes on the torso, legs and thighs, but nothing that would cause fatal bleeding. Blood would only seep out slightly before beginning to scab over. The stomach looked like it had been stabbed and clawed into repeatedly. The face was frozen in silent terror, the eyes rolled back and 4 gashes across the face. The autopsy reports have shown that his genitals were removed and physically shoved down his throat when he was still alive, but must have died not long after. This is from what the medical examiner had observed, said the Anbu. How did he come to that conclusion? No major arteries were cut in the attack, and some wounds were even cauterized. He may have gone into adrenaline-induced shock, but he wouldn't have died from the injuries, and the pooling around his genital area shows that blood was still circulating, said the Anbu. The woman is okay, no penetration had occurred, though the incident had left her partially emotionally scarred and mentally scarred due to witnessing the attack. The strange thing was, the figure had never moved, only touching the attacker's head with a glowing hand, from her description of the event. Sarutobi looked over the pictures once again. The sight was truly gruesome, but one thing truly caught his attention above all else. It was that on the chest, which received the least amount of damage, was a note cut into his skin. Crimes committed by the scum beyond scum will be met with equal punishment. This is my first, last and only warning. The nightmare begins, my friends. Sleep tight. Good decision, but you could have held back just a little, Sarutobi thought, shuddering a little. 1 year time skip. Naruto sat on the academy roof, metal parts and nuts and bolts with tools around him. He was currently building a metal base around the claw glove, making it more of a steel glove, and the blades retractable, so he could keep them a surprise. Naruto Uzumaki, standing at 4'8", average for one his age, having made some changes in his diet after incident a year ago, wore a dark orange long-sleeve shirt with a spiral on the back, the sleeves rolled up to his elbows and black knee-length shorts, the black hat atop his spiky blonde hair. Not long after the incident he had started training with 3 of Konoha's clan heads, Tsume Inyazuka, Shikaku Nara and Chauza Akimichi. Tsume trained him in Taijutsu and tracking, as both skill sets were the affinities of the Inyazuka clan. Their fast-paced aggressive style worked out well for Naruto, especially in conjunction with his claw glove. He had also found a friend in Kiba and Hana Inyazuka, Tsume's children. He had met Kiba in the academy, but that was more a rivalry than a friendship. Shikaku had trained him in trap setting, strategy, and the academic portions that academy refused to teach him. Trap setting had become something of an affinity to the blonde, as his mischievous nature allowed him to see what was going to happen from all angles, think outside the box, something even experienced jonin are confined to. Naruto had also found a good friend in Shikamaru, lazy but loyal. Chauza had trained him in cooking, a useful skill set for a shinobi, one for the whole team. Teaching him what is edible and what isn't, and what signs to look out for on or around a poisonous plant. He sometimes questioned why they wanted to train him, but never directly to them. After all, why look a gift horse in the mouth? Is that how it goes? So far everything was going great in all aspects of his training. He was even able to get in a few hours of training with his mother, Kushina and Kyuubi. The fire demon had even given him a couple freebies with his Akumuten. The others, he was told, he'd have to earn. Boy, Naruto, when are you going to find yourself a Genjutsu teacher? Kyuubi asked. Eventually Naruto thought as he continued working on the gauntlet. Don't put off until tomorrow what can be done today, Kushina said sagely. The day, tomorrow, it's the same day, just different happenings, Naruto countered. Damn, I think he got you there, Kyuubi said. Naruto smirked, hearing a loud bang inside of his head. Ow. Naruto had discovered he had an interest in weapons and the mechanics of special weaponry after seeing some shinobi practice with a shuriken launcher fired by pulling a ripcord and seeing an old man use powerful weapons, a senbon firing shield, and fire off explosive blasts. He had decided to get a couple books on the subject and started this little project not too long ago. You should be training, you know, Kyuubi said. Don't nag me, furball, my taijutsu revolves around the claw and I really don't want to practice Katen out in the open, Naruto thought. He has a point, Kushina said. The fire demon grumbled. Naruto put down the screwdriver and put on the glove, putting his fingers through the loops on the underside. Armor pieces were placed over the second knuckle and going slightly past the first, while metal covered the distant phalanges. The armor went down to just under his wrist. Naruto worked his wrist and curled and spread his fingers, a flexible black material covering the joints that needed to move so he could still make a fist and do what he needed to do. 2 metal plates on the back, similar to the metal-plated gloves the dog mask Anbu wore. The material is flexible. He focused chakra into the glove and the blade shot up from armor over his fingers. He slashed at the air a couple times and then retracted the blades. Blades are working and sharp as ever. Naruto smiled at his creation. He balled his hand into a fist, the armor sticking out over his knuckles like spikes. He brought the back of his down on the stone roof. He picked his hand up, 4 holes in the stone, and a shallow dent and some dust on the back of the gauntlet, but not a scratch. And the steel is strong, perfect, I really have to thank Aim-chan for the supplies. Cough training cough, Naruto sighed as a smirk spread across his face. Yeah, Naruto hopped to his feet just when he was about to activate the claw, a female voice reached his ears. Naruto nai. The whiskered blonde turned towards the door to the roof and saw a pink-haired girl with emerald green eyes, her hair held back with a red ribbon and short bangs framing her face. Hey Sakura, shouldn't you be downstairs with the others, training? Naruto asked. I could say the same for you, how come you aren't training with the others? The pink cat asked. Well, I'm not sure if you've noticed or not, but the teachers aren't exactly fond of me, Naruto said with a small smirk. You could tell the headmaster you know, Sakura said. He doesn't exactly like me either, Naruto said. I can tell you want to tell me something. Sakura was surprised, but nodded. Came up here to say thank you, you know, for yesterday, the whiskered blonde smirked. Flashback. Billboard brow. Billboard brow. Billboard brow. A group of kids were gathered on a hill, chanting an insult, pointing and laughing at a young pink-haired girl of at least 9 years old, who was curled into a ball, with her knees to her chest, crying, wishing for them to stop and leave her be. Back off. She stopped, hearing a voice defend her. She looked up to see a blonde-haired boy wearing a black hat, standing in front of her. She saw one of the boys try to attack him, but he stopped the punch and gave one of his own, the boy falling down, holding his face. I said, back. Off. The kids quickly dispersed after that, 2 other children taking away the injured one. Hey, are you okay? The pink cat looked up, see the blonde looking at her, his deep ocean blue eyes showed concern. She wiped away the tears with her sleeve and nodded. Don't let them get to you, okay? It just keeps them coming back for more. He offered her his hand to help her up and she accepted. What's your name? Sakura asked, wiping away another tear. Naruto Uzumaki, what's yours? Sakura Haruno, the blonde gave her a small smile. Well, it's nice to meet you, Sa. He was interrupted by a loud scream. Get away from my daughter, you demon. Naruto turned to see a pink-haired woman running up the hill towards them. He just sighed and tipped his hat to Sakura. We'll meet again, I'm sure. The whiskered blonde boy ran off and Sakura was embraced by her slightly fuming mother. Sakura, he didn't hurt you, did he? Please be alright, she said in a worried tone, still glaring after Naruto. I'm fine, Kasen, I'm fine. Then flashback, and that was only the first of their encounters. Naruto had shown up every time bullies started to gang up on her. He would talk to her when she was sad in comfort. She had started seeing him as something of brother, thus her calling him Naruto Nai. She was snapped out of her musing by Naruto speaking to her. No thanks necessary, Sakura, though it did take you a while, Naruto said as he gathered up the leftover parts and pieces he was thinking of using for some other project. Sakura chuckled sheepishly, but stopped when she saw the glove on his hand, and her curious nature got the better of her. What's that? The pink cat asked, pointing to the armored glove. Just a special weapon I've been working on, Naruto said. He curled and uncurled his fingers. That's really cool, and you made that yourself? Sakura asked, inspecting the piece. Sure did. Hey Sakura, how about you and me train up here during class tomorrow? I can help you with your taijutsu, Naruto offered. Sakura thought about his offer for a moment, the thoughts of a raven-haired boy entering her mind, but those disappeared when something in his words struck her. What's wrong with my taijutsu? Sakura asked, putting her hands on her hips. Naruto chuckled. You have to admit, it could use some work. He bent back as the pink cat threw a punch, aside stepped another, raising his leg and blocking a kick as she spun around. He poked her in the forehead and she fell back on her butt. See? Sakura fake pouted and Naruto chuckled again, offering her his hand to help her to her feet. She accepted. I'll think about, said the pink cat. That's all I ask, come on, it looks like everyone is going inside, Naruto said. Sakura nodded and they proceeded to make their way downstairs, unbeknownst to either of them. An onyx black eye was spying on them from afar. It closed at the owner disappeared. Naruto walked through the streets whistling a tune as he walked towards his usual hangout before heading off to train at the Inyazuka house. He didn't have to look around to know that he was receiving glares, that people were whispering. He even heard some people step towards him from behind, but they never went farther than one step. Naruto's hands were in his pockets, but he was armed. His glove on his right hand and 2 senbon ready in his left. He was also chewing on a wooden senbon, which he found effective after seeing a bandana wearing Takebetsu Jonin counter a kunai during a spar with a spiky-haired Jonin with face scarring. Ah, here we are, he said to himself. He stopped in front of a store. The Tiger's Claw weapon shop, the owner of the shop having been the woman Naruto saved on the first night of his new job. He entered the shop. Aim-chan, are you here? Naruto called out. I'm in the back, be with you in a minute Naruto. The blonde decided to explore in the meantime, seeing if there were any more weapons he could use. Naruto. He turned around to see a young brunette around his age, her hair drawn back into two buns, in a pink and blue Chinese-style outfit. She smiled warmly at him. He returned it and tipped his hat. Hey there Ten, said the blonde, greeting the girl who was a year ahead of him in the academy. He opened his mouth and closed it, catching a senbon by the tip while dropping the wooden one. And hello to you too, Aim-chan, Naruto said. A brunette that looked to be 18 or 19, her hair pulled back into a long ponytail held together by two metal cuffs. She was dressed in a similar style to Ten. How are Konoha's weapon sisters doing today? He asked. Pretty good, even though business has been slow today, said Aim. Naruto nodded and looked around the store, looking for anything in particular. Blondie. Aim asked, propping herself up with her elbow on the counter and her cheek in her hand. Ten sitting in a chair and pulling out a weapons magazine. No, I actually came here to thank you for all of the parts and the books you gave me, Naruto said, extracting money from his pocket and setting it on the counter. Not a problem, Naruto, it was the least I could do after you saved me, she said with a kind smile. I do have a question, how did you know it was me? Naruto asked. Aim smirked. I'm a sensor, I can sense nearby chakra signatures, the owner's emotions. Your chakra is warm and bright, despite your new demeanor, and the Kyuubi's raw and damn near suffocating. I could recognize your chakra from a mile away, it's not like most, Aim said. Naruto nodded and tipped his hat once again. I'll be back anytime I need something, you guys have yourselves a regular, later Naruto said. Hold on. He was stopped at the door. What's up? Can we get a look at the finished product? Aim asked. How do you know it's finished? Naruto asked with a smirk. He could see a light blue hue around her pupils. You've been tipping your hat with your left hand, and yet you always do it with your right, which has stayed in your pocket this whole time and I can see traces of my own chakra mixed with yours around your hand, she said, her chocolate brown eyes lost the light blue hue. Naruto's smirk grew. Okay, the blonde approached the counter and he raised his right hand, showing the newly finished and reinforced claw glove. Ten dropped the magazine, and both she and her sister leaned over the counter to get a better look. Naruto activated the blades, Aim and Ten jumped back a bit but came forward again to inspect it. Wow, that's pretty impressive Naruto, and you built the entire thing around a leather glove base. Aim asked, she had only sold him the parts, but Naruto had kept the whole process a secret. Yep, Ten. Naruto looked to the younger brunette who was actually drooling a little over the weapon. Ten Naruto snapped his fingers after retracting the blades. The young brunette snapped out of her daze and blushed. Oh, sorry about that, Ten said sheepishly, scratching the back of her head. It's fine, later you two, he said with a wave of his hand, and he was out the door. The two weapon sisters waved after him. Training time, the whiskered blonde thought. In Yazuka house. Eitenga. Fang rotating Fang, four objects spun at high speeds, tearing through the air like buzzsaws, their target, a blindfolded Naruto. Phase 2, Tsume said, blowing on a whistle. Naruto winced and his ears twitched. He sniffed at the air. He dodged one and another, the third clipped his shoulder, tearing his sleeve, and the fourth barreled into his chest, throwing him back. Three of the buzzsaws stopped, and they turned out to be three gray furred dogs that ran over to the downed blonde and licked at his face. The fourth was a brunette girl with the Inuzuka red fangs on her cheeks. Tsume's daughter, Hana. The dogs being her companions, the Himari triplets. You okay, kid? Tsume asked. Naruto raised his arm and gave her a thumbs up. The blonde sat up a second later and removed his blindfold. What's the point of blindfolding me again? Naruto asked as he scratched one of the dogs behind its ear. This exercise is designed to enhance your sense of smell, or at least help you focus on the scent you need to. You may be blinded in battle by a number of things, and the same goes for your hearing, no matter how good it is. A high-pitched whistle like mine that can lock onto the animal designated will make it useless, since you're so fox-like, Tsume said. Naruto nodded and got to his feet, working his now sore shoulder and putting the blindfold back on. Again. Tsume barked, Hana made a single hand sign, and she and her dogs rushed forward. Eitenga. The four of them spun quickly. Tsume blew on the whistle, taking away Naruto's hearing. The whiskered blonde sniffed at the air. He sidestepped one of them, and then another. He bent and twisted his upper body, narrowly dodging the third, and dropped to the ground to avoid the fourth. Tsume smirked as she continued blowing on the whistle. Naruto hopped to his feet and was about to take off the blindfold when one of the flying buzzsaws barreled into him from behind. Ah. Damn, that hurt. Naruto hissed. Are you okay, Naruto? Kushina asked worriedly. Don't coddle the boy, Kushina, he can handle a little pain, Kyuubi said. He's my son, I'm supposed to worry, Kushina said. He's endured worse, Kyuubi retorted. Don't remind me. Will you both calm down, your arguing is giving me a headache, Naruto thought. He tuned them out and came back to reality, feeling one of the Himari lick his face. Naruto reached up and scratched behind the canine's ear as he sat up. What the heck was that about? Naruto asked. Tsume smirked. You really think the enemy is going to stop attacking after the first wave? They may not focus on the disabled shinobi first, but when it comes down to that disabled shinobi against larger odds, when they attack, you dodge, when they rest, you capitalize, that's what it's about, Tsume said, poking him in the forehead. Naruto smirked and got to his feet, working the soreness out of his limbs. I have to keep dodging, conserve my energy while they wear theirs down, and when the time is right, I end it, Naruto summed up. Tsume chuckled. Exactly, so do you want to continue with this or move on, Tsume asked. Naruto smirked again and put the blindfold back on. Let's do this, Naruto said. 2 hours later, Kuromaru, anything? Tsume asked. Her companion, a wolf wearing an eye patch over his right eye, sniffed at the ground. Nothing, the wolf said, shaking his head. Tsume's companion being the only non-summon that could speak, but in public he never said anything more than yo or back off. Damn, this kid is good, the Inuzuka matriarch mumbled. For the past hour she and her companion had been searching for Naruto. She couldn't say tracking, no, because tracking implies that they have leads, a trail to follow, the whiskered blonde left nothing. For the past hour they had been searching for a scent, tracks, some kind of marking. Nothing. Damn it, she sighed, alright, come on out, Naruto. There was a rustling and the two of them snapped towards the sound, a near invisible wire moved up through the bush and both of them looked towards Tsume's feet. Ah shit, she and Kuromaru said. The string was pulled taut and the Inuzuka matriarch was pulled upside down into the air. The moment she stopped, she looked ahead of her. Her heartbeat slowed down seeing someone in a black hat directly in front of her, but it sped up again seeing the blonde spikes. Naruto raised his head and lazily grinned at the brunette woman. I win then. Yeah, now let me down, I can feel the blood going to my head, Tsume said with a smirk. Naruto tipped his hat and cut the wire, Tsume landing safely on the ground. You did really good, Naruto, no wonder the Anbu used you for tracking training, Tsume said. Yep, took a whole squad 7 hours to find me, and the truth is, I let them, Naruto said. Oh really, could you? I don't know, tell me who they were. Tsume asked, an evil idea forming in her mind. Naruto could see the gleam in her eye and immediately knew what she was thinking. Alright, Naruto pulled out a piece of paper and bit into his thumb, having no ink or brush, writing out the names in his blood. Have fun with that. An evil grin spread across Tsume's face. I sure will, now, just a sparring match against Kiba, and we're done for the day. Nara House. Naruto sat in the Nara House library, reading a book while leaning back on the chair's back legs. He was writing down a few notes at the same time. You sure don't have the energy you used to, Naruto, you've been sitting there for the past hour, Shikaku said as he walked through the rows and rows of shelves, looking for something. It's still there, I just know how to keep it in check and use it when I need it, said the whiskered blonde. Huh, guess you're not so troublesome anymore, said the Nara clan head in a bored tone, here it is. Oi, Kit. What's up, furball? Naruto thought. I'm going to send you some mental pictures of a hand seal, use it will make all of this go much faster. Naruto stopped for a moment and received the mental picture, as well as the name of the technique. Alright, but where is Kasan? I haven't heard her since I got here. She's asleep, she got bored of just you reading and passed out, said Kyuubi, who was currently poking the unconscious Kushina and chuckling when she pawed at his tail like a cat. Well, thanks for the technique, Naruto thought. No prob. Kyuubi howled in pain, she bit my fucking tail, son of a. Naruto cut contact with the fox, knowing that was going to turn into one major headache if he kept listening. He stopped what he was doing and made the single hand seal, putting his middle and index fingers together and crossing them. Naruto. Don't, it was too late. Age Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow cloning technique, Shikaku's eyes widened as Naruto was engulfed in a large plume of smoke. As it cleared, the Nara clan head looked to be on the verge of passing out as 25 Naruto clones stood around the original, who went back to what he was doing. Damn was all he said, scratching his head. He expected as much of Naruto though, he knew with the Kyuubi in him, Naruto would have chakra levels that equal or even exceeded Jonin's at a young age. He just sighed and mumbled. Shikamaru was right, troublesome blondes, 12 of you Narutos come with me, and we'll get started on math and history, do what you want with the other 13 Naruto, I'll come and get you when it's time for trap setting and spotting. The original blonde just tipped his hat and Shikaku walked away with half of his clones. Alright, Naruto dispersed one so that there was an even 12 behind him. What he found interesting was that he received the memories. I want half of you to study up on the human bone and muscle structure, while the other half look for books on poisons, flowers and all. Get to it, Naruto said, snapping his own book shut. The 12 clones saluted him and then walked off to different sections of the library. The original walked along a bookshelf that looked particularly old. If the dust on the book spines was anything to go by, he stopped, his eyes set on a red book, and he took it out and opened to the first page. Yuinjutsu, he mumbled, interesting. A couple hours later, Naruto snapped the book shut. Shikaku entered the library at the exact same time to see Naruto clones still reading. Naruto, it's time for trap setting, Shikaku called out, the original jogging towards him. Shikaku turned to leave, while Naruto turned back to the clones. That's enough, disperse yourselves three at a time. The clones started to put the books away and did as they were told, Naruto leaving the library with the Nara clan head. Look for anything out of the ordinary. Experienced trap setters can hide the triggers for the traps near perfectly, but there is always something, Shikaku said as he and Naruto walked into the Nara's personal forest, the deer having been rounded up to avoid them being hurt. Knots and large roots and trees can be hollowed out and filled with exploding tags or pouches, and the slightest pressure can set them off. The roots can also be anchors for larger traps set in the trees. You have to be very wary of your surroundings in enemy territory, Shikaku said. Naruto looked around and tipped his hat down slightly as his eyes narrowed. There are 3 strings leading up into the trees. The trap will come down right where I'm standing, the blonde thought. He stepped back a few feet and placed his back against another tree. He spit out the steel senbon and severed all 3 strings in one shot. A myriad of shuriken and kunai came down on where he was once standing. They could have easily been dodged. A large tree swung down, breaking its bonds and flying through the air. No doubt it would have crushed him. Very good, you shadowed your eyes so you could focus on the sunlight where I hid the wire, Shikaku said, having observed Naruto's method. Traps are my specialty, Naruto said. Oh really? A lazy smirk spread across Shikaku's face, and he raised his hand, revealing a string attached to it. Naruto quirked an eyebrow and followed it, seeing that it led to the trigger of a large ball made of explosive tags. Ah shit, Naruto rolled away just as Shikaku pulled the trigger, turning out to be nothing more than a flash bomb under a bunch of dud explosive tags. Always be wary of your surroundings, because in the field the enemy is not going to use a flash bomb, Shikaku said. Naruto just lay there for a moment before going up in a small cloud of smoke. You can't kill me if it's not me, Naruto said from beside the Nara clan head, making the man jump. Haha, very clever, you used a replacement technique to switch yourself out with a clone. Naruto tipped his hat at the praise. Alright, let's continue with today's lesson, and then we'll move on to setting traps, and after that, you can go to your training with Chaozu. Naruto nodded, and they went on with the lesson. The Ichiraku ramen stand. Late in the day, Naruto walked into the still open ramen bar, being greeted by the chipper brunette, Ayame Ichiraku, who was like a sister to him, and one of the select few he cared for deeply. He placed his hat on the counter. How has your training been going, Naruto? Ayame asked, giving him his order of 2 miso ramen. He broke the chopsticks apart and started eating. Pretty good so far, the stuff they're teaching me is really useful, Naruto said. You've been training with Chaozu Akimichi, right? Naruto nodded. How come you don't just cook for yourself then, she asked with a smirk. And miss out on eating this amazing ramen after a long day? I don't think so, nothing can compare to your cooking, Ayame, Naruto said. Ayame giggled. I know, I just wanted to hear you say that, Ayame said, poking the whiskered blonde in the forehead. Naruto smirked. The two of them continued to make small talk until a pained scream reached their ears. It was a man's. That was close, sounds like it came from inside the red light district, Kyuubi said. Naruto nodded and donned his hat, placing money on the counter. Stay here, Ayame, I'll be back to walk you home, Naruto said, tipping his hat so Ayame couldn't see the rage in his eyes. Where are you going? To take care of business, was all that Naruto said before he exited the shop. Red light district, please. No more. A middle-aged man lay on the ground, beaten, bloody, bruised and broken. His right arm was at an odd angle, and blood was running from his nose and mouth. He looked up at his attackers from his swelling eye. You know what, you're right, you've had enough, said the leader who was wearing a large silver fur jacket, counting the money he had taken from his latest victim. Burn him. The man's eyes widened in fear as 2 men stepped forward. One opened the large gourd and poured a dark substance over him, the other lit a match and tossed it. A step back as the broken man went up in flames. His screams of pain were short-lived as his life was snuffed out in a flash. Ahahahaha. Ah man, I love the smell of money and burnt flesh. Another job well done, said the leader with a gleeful smile. His 2 lackeys grinned. The one nearest to the pitch-black shadows was silenced and dragged into the darkness. The other guy was about to say something when he was paralyzed by 2 senbon to the back of his neck. The man turned around. Hearing the thud, he turned around to see one of his men on the ground gurgling as he could not speak. The other was gone. Help me. Whoa. The leader yelled, seeing the other stumbled out of the shadows, his eyes wide and crying blood. His hair was silver with a faint black, which was his natural hair color. Carved into his chest was a message. Behind you. The lackey was dead before he hit the ground. The leader turned around to see a figure sitting on large rock in front of the still glowing fire. The figure was a complete shadow, no parts could be seen. Who the fuck are you? The leader growled, reaching for a hidden tanto in his coat. The figure merely pulled out a small book from behind its back. You're the serial killer who burns his victims to death using a potent oil as a catalyst? It asked. That's right, and you're my next victim. He pulled out the tanto and rushed the figure. His eyes widened as he saw its right hand surrounded by an aura of purplish blue energy. Akumutan. Akumu no Imnahando, Nightmare Release. Nightmare Hand. Just as the man got close, the figure sped forward and his hand latched onto the murderer's head. His body was paralyzed and he dropped the tanto. Through the figure's fingers he could see a single eye looking at him. The azure blue gave him a look colder than the dark side of the moon. Murasame Satoshi, it's your turn to burn. Dream world, what the hell? The murderer looked around frantically. He was standing in barren wasteland, stones sticking up out of the ground at all angles, steam rising from the cracks in the dark earth. Where am I? He said. Murasame Satoshi, your crimes have cost 10 people their lives. He whipped around to see Naruto staring at him with the same cold gaze, and for each life, you will suffer the same fate. Bastard kid. D. Murasame was about to rush the whiskered blonde and get himself out of wherever he was. Naruto grabbed the fist that was sent towards his face and snapped the wrist like a twist and throwing Murasame away. Ah. Ah. Damn, that hurt. That was my scalping hand. Murasame yelled as he nursed his wrist. Naruto merely shrugged and took a manga novel, opening up to a marked page. Where am I, damn it? The man asked. The nightmare I designed, it's revenge, it's punishment, it's irony. You will suffer just as your victims suffered, Naruto said, flipping a page. Oi-chan, a young girl with blood-red eyes, black silken hair, and 2 long pigtails, wearing a black schoolgirl's outfit appeared. Murasame Satoshi, in this place, I am your judge, I am your jury, and the ground under the murderer's feet began to crack, and the temperature steadily rose beneath him. He didn't think to run. As your executioner, Naruto stated. I snapped her fingers and a pillar of flames erupted from under Murasame's feet, engulfing him in fire. His shadow could be seen on the inside and his screams tore through the air. Naruto merely turned another page and I looked on impassively. The pillar died down and Murasame stumbled around. He rolled along the ground to try and snuff the flames, but they didn't get any smaller. Naruto snapped his fingers and the flames were absorbed back into the ground. Murasame howled in pain, but there wasn't a scratch on him. He calmed down after a moment. WWH, what did you do to me? You will feel the pain, but you will not be injured, you will not die, and you will not be able to pass out. You will feel the pain that all of your victims felt before they lost their lives, Naruto said. I snapped her fingers once again, and Murasame was engulfed in fire once again. He was burned once again, only this time longer than before. The flames died once again, and the black-haired murderer was on his hands and knees in pain. 2 down, 8 to go. Naruto snapped. I snapped fingers once again. Ah ha ha ha. Why? Why are you doing this? Murasame screamed at the top of his lungs. Naruto looked up from his book just as the flames dropped again. Murasame was panting heavily. He looked up and their eyes locked. The murderer started to shake seeing the cold look in the blonde's eyes. Justice, why else? I snapped her fingers once again. Ahaha. Anbu arrived in the red light district after getting calls of a disturbance. Ox and Wolf appeared only to discover the charred remains of a man, nothing more than a blackened skeleton. One man was dead with a kunai in the back of his head and the other was dead with a note carved in his chest and multiple gashes over his body. I'll rope off the entryways, you search for clues and mark any evidence at Ox. Wolf nodded and they went to their jobs. Hey, check this out, Wolf said. Ox walked over to him, the Anbu using a pair of tweezers to hold a page. Murasame Satoshi, Ox mumbled. He's the serial killer who uses fire. This guy kept escaping and burning all evidence, said Wolf. The two of them looked at the charred remains. Chalk another one up for that vigilante, said Ox. With Naruto. Naruto walked into his apartment with a sigh and set the hat on the table, activating the index claw and dragging it through the table to leave a mark, that one making 20 total marks carved into the wood. Ah shit. Naruto ran into his bathroom and emptied his stomach contents into the toilet. He slowly stood up and looked at his reflection. He barely touched the bags under his eyes. Filling is never easy, Kid Kyuubi commented. Maybe you should relax for a bit and take your mind off of everything. Kushina suggested. Yeah, maybe you're right, I'm sure I'll get used to this eventually, Naruto thought, running the water and splashing some in his face. Kid Kyuubi said seriously. Naruto, the moment you get used to killing someone, seeing blood run and bodies torn apart, is the day I want you to quit being a shinobi, a vigilante, and quit fighting altogether, Kushina said. The reaction to killing is what makes you human, it shows that you feel remorse over taking a life. Kushina is right, you need to quit the moment you get used to it, because that is the moment you lose your humanity, Kyuubi said. Promise me, Naruto, promise that if it happens you will quit, Kushina said. Naruto was quiet for a moment before a small smile graced his face. I promise, Naruto said as he stripped down to his boxers. Thanks for looking out for me, Ka-san. That's what I'm here for, Kushina said. Ahem. You too, furball, Naruto mumbled. Kyuubi nodded. 1 year later. Ugwe. A body collided with cement ground and bounced up, a stone spike rising and impaling it through the stomach. Number 48, a mark was carved into the darkness with white light. No. No. Stop. Please. A quivering mass huddled in the corner, throwing whatever was in range. The last thing seen was a fast flash of steel. Number 49 and another. I am. Aya. A shadowed figure stumbled away as its arm was severed, then its other arm, a leg. The throat was slashed mid-scream. Number 50. And another, it burst as a mutilated face, hollowed out eyes and a frozen scream shot out from the darkness. Why did you kill us? Ah. Naruto woke with a start, he grabbed his chest as his heart felt as if it were about to burst out of his chest, sweat ran down his face, just another nightmare, he sighed. The whiskered blonde swung his legs over the side, standing up, he walked to the bathroom. It's been 2 years, I've even taken a 6-month break, and that crap still haunts me, Naruto mumbled as he splashed some water on his face. The bags had disappeared, he had gotten over the killings, not to say he was used to it, but he still had that look in his azure blue eyes. Stuff like that doesn't go away Naruto, believe me, I know Kushina said. I know Naruto thought. You feel remorse for killing a human being, everyone does, just give it time, and you'll learn to repress the memories and be at ease with it at least Kushina said, trying to reassure her son. She did not like that he had been killing at such a young age, but she was proud of him for being the unofficial hero, the one he was supposed to be, killing those who deserved death. Thanks Kas and Naruto said as he exited the bathroom and dropped into a push-up position. He hopped into the air and clapped his hands after 20. So Kurama, have you figured out any methods to help me with my dark release? Naruto thought. Remember what you read about it in the Nara library that dark release techniques are separated into 2 categories, techniques that throw the energy back at the user, and techniques that utilize dark energy and shadows the Fire Fox asked. Yeah Naruto said. I would suggest using Kage Bunshin and have them throw some low-level Katen at you until you get the hand of it and then move up, and as for the other category, talk to the Naras, I'm sure they can help Kurama said. Sounds fine to me Naruto thought as he hopped up at 100 and went to his doorway and grabbed onto the chin-up bar. Hitting 50 after a few minutes, he flipped and hooked his knees over it and started crunches. Surprised Naruto's eyes widened and he dropped down and spun around, spitting out a senbon and knocking a kunai out of the air. He raised his leg high and blocked a kick, and the dog masked Anbu with gravity-defying silver hair on the other end of that leg. Not bad, your reflexes have improved said the Anbu. You really shouldn't sneak up on me Naruto said. The silver-haired Anbu disappeared via Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker technique, appearing behind Naruto and getting him in a headlock, giving him a noogie at the same time. I'm just messing with you Naruto the whiskered blonde smirked and elbowed the Anbu in the ribs, dog grunting and stepping away. So, are you okay? Naruto went to his closet and picked out his clothes, the Anbu taking a box of biscuits from the cabinet. He removed the mask enough that it was covering his right eye, while his bangs covered the left. He somehow started eating the biscuits through the mask. I'm okay, thanks for checking up on me, Naruto said. The silver-haired Anbu was the only one who really knew about his nightly adventures. The Anbu had decided to check up on him every now and again to see if he was faring alright. It's the least I can do said the silver-haired Anbu with a shrug. Naruto slipped on his black long sleeve with orange lines going down the sleeves. He took the box of biscuits. No, the least you could do is check up on me and not eat my food, Naruto said with a smirk, taking out a skillet and eggs and bacon, beginning on his breakfast. I bought a dog said, eating the biscuit he had in hand. You're going to hold that over my head, again? Naruto asked. If it gets me a free snack and a breakfast, then yes dog said. The silver-haired Anbu and the whiskered blonde chuckled. It's good to see that you're okay Naruto, I was beginning to think we were going to lose you, Konoha would lose its sunshine, dog said, taking a seat at the table. It's not exactly sunshine anymore, more or less, it's dusk now, Naruto said, setting a plate of bacon, eggs and toast in front of the Anbu, and another for himself. As long as there is light, you're still Naruto, the whiskered blonde smirked. How's Taijutsu training with Tsume going? I found this scroll for a style called Muay Thai, it's supposed to break down your opponent's guard and then physically break them down after that, Naruto said. As far as training goes, she says I'm doing better than most Inyazukas at the point I'm at. The silver-haired Anbu nodded, taking a bite of bacon, again, somehow going through his mask. At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if the Anbu Corporation brought you in to help with the rookies, hell, we do it now to help with stealth and tracking both dog and Naruto laughed, remembering the chase the rookies put up trying to catch Naruto. It took all of 8 hours to actually track him down when he started hiding. And speaking of Tsume, why did you have to tell her about you letting the Anbu find you? Mantis, cat, tiger and ox are elite Anbu now, and they got stuck cleaning up after dogs doing the Inyazuka chores because of that dog said. I owed her for the training Naruto said simply. Soon enough they were finished with breakfast after a friendly chat and Naruto was cleaning the dishes. Finishing that he walked over to the table and donned his signature black hat, under it were 50 marks carved into the table. Okage-sama wanted to talk to you after the academy let out, the Anbu said, opening the window to take his leave. I'll see you when I see you Naruto the whiskered blonde gave a vague wave, his eyes still on the marks in the table. That's fine, I've been meaning to talk with the old man anyway, later Kakashi, the Anbu nodded and took his leave. Naruto just stayed in place, looking at the markings. He's not gonna be happy when he finds out his name was on the list, poor Kakashi. Kushina giggled. After Naruto didn't respond, Kyuubi spoke up. Oi, kid, snap out of it. Naruto shook himself out of his dazed state. He sighed, he seemed to be doing that a lot lately, and left his home, locking the door behind himself and activating the security seals. The whiskered blonde jumped over the railing. The moment his feet hit solid ground, he was off towards the academy. May as well get some lunch for later. He took a right towards the Ichiraku stand. Hokage Chambers. Danzo-san, would you please repeat yourself? Sarutobi said. Before him stood his rival, Danzo Shimura, an old warhawk that kept flying, no matter how many times its wings were clipped or its body injured. Sarutobi respected the man as his equal, but after discovering the horrors of his root program and the request he was making at the moment, all respect was replaced by malice and a small portion of hatred. Hiruzen, I ask that you look at the recent events over the past 2 years, multiple gruesome homicides, and all potential suspects captured by the Anbu Black Ops were proven innocent, 50 in total, and this murderer still has not been caught, no fingerprints, no DNA, nothing. I ask that you allow me to revive the Anbu root program. The training they receive make them excellent trackers, and this so-called vigilante will be captured and punished swiftly. The old warhawk had said all of this with his only visible eye closed and a stoic expression on his face. He had been trying for years, even before the Yondame's passing, to revive his program, but to no avail. He saw the recent homicides as an opportunity to put himself back into a position of power and work towards ruling Konoha. You honestly believe, Danzo-san, that I would actually allow that vile program to be reintegrated into Konoha's elite training corporation? The Anbu root program has torn apart families and sacrificed many shinobi and Kunoichi. Their emotionless states made them nothing more than cannon fodder, at least in your eyes, Sarutobi said. Danzo actually opened his eye, revealing a steely gray pupil, which locked with the Sandame's onyx black. Ever since this vigilante has started doing his business in Konoha, crime rates have been steadily declining, and a total of 50 comprising of Konoha's most wanted serial killers, rapists and arsonists have been killed and taken off of Konoha's streets. The prison system and security has increased, as well as the law enforcement. Anbu who have been taking bribes have been captured and dirty politicians have been taken out in neighboring villages. As far as I'm concerned, Danzo-san, your root program is no longer required, and this vigilante is a kami-sen. The Sandame took a breath after his drawn-out speech. Without the roots, the tree cannot survive. As the tree dies, so does the leaves. Think about what you're doing, Sarutobi, Danzo said. The old fire shadow leaned in and smirked. Request denied, and that's Hokage-sama to you, Danzo-san. Danzo closed his eye and lightly bowed his head. Very well, and with that, the old warhawk took his leave, Sarutobi going back to the mountain of paperwork that had piled up. Sigh, troublesome rivals, I'm getting too old for this shit. Academy. Naruto was leaning back in his chair, looking at the ceiling tattoo on his palm, one he had made so that he could activate it and immediately have his glove on, instead of having to wear it all the time or having to slip it on in the heat of a fight. He glanced to his left where Sasuke Uchiha was sitting by the window. Normally he would be on the top row away from the Avenger at his superiority complex, but he did for Sakura as he was protective and he didn't want Sasuke to hurt her. Hey Naruto Nai, the blue-eyed blonde looked to see the pinket, Sakura Haruno. Hey there Sakura, Naruto said with a small smile and a tip of his hat. The pinket gave him a warm smile and sat between him and Sasuke, but Naruto was pleasantly surprised when her attention goes straight to the Avenger, but to him. What made it better was that Sasuke's eyes seemed to twitch at the lack of her attention. I think she's finally coming around, Naruto thought. Betting a fangirl to rethink her crush. Who knows who else you'll be able to change, Naruto, Kushina said in an optimistic fashion. How have you been lately? Sakura asked, she could always seem to tell when he was down. I've been well, how has your training been going? Naruto inquired. I've been doing it as much as I could, but my Ka-san keeps trying to stop me, saying that I should focus more on trying to earn Sasuke's affection, said the pinket. Well, I hope you're not listening to her. Training is important for all shinobi, Naruto said, and Sakura giggled. I know, you tell me all the time, so, are we going to train more today? The pinket asked. Hey Naruto. The blonde looked the other way and backflipped onto the row above him as Kiba came at him with a swipe, a feral grin on his face, Naruto smirking, relaxing his upper body and putting his hands in his pockets. The Inyazuka lunged at him with another swipe with his sharpened claws. Naruto raised his leg high and countered it, Kiba pushing away, and Naruto stayed in place. I'm gonna beat you this time, said the Inyazuka. Can't this wait until later? I'm pretty tired today, man, Naruto asked, giving a short yawn. No way, I'm gonna pay you back for the spar yesterday, Kiba said with a feral smirk. Naruto gave a lazy smirk, shifting the wooden senbon between his teeth. He kept his upper body relaxed with his hands in his pockets. Bring it on then, dog boy, Naruto said. Kiba's smirk turned into a full-blown grin, and he lunged at Naruto, who raised his right leg, blocking Kiba's punch with his knee. He moved his leg and hooked it around Kiba's arm and turned using his other foot, throwing Kiba away. The Inyazuka flipped and landed safely. He turned back to face Naruto was still giving a lazy smirk. "Bastard." Kiba growled. He jumped up and rushed Naruto, who kept blocking his attacks with his leg. When Kiba lunged forward again, Naruto was quick to move, striking the Inyazuka's left outer thigh and sending him tumbling down in the second row. Wah! Akamaru jumped out and into Naruto's arms as Kiba went down, hitting the ground with a thud. The little white-furred pup licked Naruto's whiskered cheek. "Hey buddy." Naruto held the little dog in his arms like a baby and scratched its belly. The little dog rapidly moved its foot and barked happily. He hopped down and helped the Inyazuka to his feet. "Damn, that hurt," Kiba groaned, working his shoulder which had taken the brunt of the fall. The blue-eyed blonde handed him his dog back. "What happened to that fighting style from yesterday?" "I like to keep my opponents guessing," Naruto said, bumping fists with the Inyazuka and taking his seat and Kiba going to his. Something out of the blue happened as the class started to grow every few minutes. "That was pretty good dope." It was Sasuke. Naruto quirked an eyebrow and gave the Uchiha a look that said, "Where the fuck is the real Sasuke?" "Was that a compliment just now, team? Are you running a fever?" Naruto asked. Sasuke grunted. His comment received chuckles from the males and glares from the females, except for Sakura who just looked to the blonde and then to the raven-haired Uchiha and back to Naruto before sighing, not knowing which side to take. "Don't question me dope, all I said that was pretty good, but it was Kiba. You have a long way to go before you can defeat someone like me," Sasuke said, a smirk hidden behind his hands that he webbed together in front of his face. "And we're back to the insults," Naruto said, leaning back in his chair once again. "You really shouldn't underestimate people like me, team. Remember, deception is a shinobi's greatest weapon," Naruto said sagely, tipping his hat to shade his eyes and crossed his arms to take a nap. "And what's that supposed to mean, D?" The Uchiha stopped speaking seeing that Naruto was no longer in his seat. "Over here." Sasuke jumped and whipped around, preparing to strike with the kunai hidden under his desk, but no one was there. "Why so jumpy, team?" Sasuke looked back to see Naruto and everyone else staring at him curiously. He scoffed and went back to sitting in silence. Naruto smirked and went back to napping. Soon enough, the entire class had gathered, including Iruka Yamino, a tan chunin with a scar across his nose, who taught the class and his assistant Mizuki. "Good morning class," Iruka said. He received a unison greeting and nodded, seeing that everyone was there. "Today will be relatively short." He had to stop and wait for the cheers to die down. "We'll go through history, math and tests on the basics of chakra, then we'll break for lunch. Afterwards Mizuki will be taking you outside for taijutsu and weapons training. Will I grade your tests and then we're done for the day, everyone understand?" The students nodded and Iruka started the lesson. Lunch. Naruto sat on the roof, eating his ramen and an apple. He was joined by Sakura, eating her lunch from a bento box, Choji who had his chips and a homemade lunch in a bento, and Shikamaru who had some onigiri and an apple Naruto had offered him. Kiba was also eating from a bento from home, Akamaru eating dog food from a bowl. A girl with dark blue hair and pale eyes sat with them as well. Hinata Hyuga, heiress to the Hyuga, she was shy, but Naruto and Sakura were slowly getting her out of that phase. She was something of a sister to Naruto as well, though she did admit feelings for him, but with some comforting, he was able to turn her away from him and into more of a sister. "Hey dope." Everyone looked towards the door up to the roof. Sasuke was standing there. "What's up team?" Naruto said, chopping down on a fish cake. "Hide me." There was a silence. "And why would I do that?" Naruto quirked an eyebrow. "You're the only one out of all these idiots in this academy who can give some kind of challenge," Sasuke said. Kiba sneered and Hinata bowed her head, believing what he said. Sakura laid a comforting hand on her shoulder. Shikamaru and Choji glared at the Uchiha. Naruto saw what his words did to Hinata and set his bowl of ramen after finishing it, a fish cake between his teeth. "Gin up Hinata." He munched on it and swallowed. "You're not weak, you know that." Hinata raised her head and gave a small smile as she nodded. "You sure you want to do this team?" Naruto asked. Sasuke dropped into his taijutsu stance without a word and Naruto gave a sigh. "Fine." He put his hands in his pockets and relaxed his upper body. Both Kiba and Sasuke recognized this from class earlier. Naruto shifted the wooden senbon around between his teeth. "Well Sasuke, ladies first," Naruto said, motioning the Uchiha to come at him. Sasuke sneered at the jab to his masculinity, but was silent about it. He closed the distance between them and hopped into the air. Naruto stepped back as he brought down an axe kick and ducked as the Uchiha lashed out with a side kick, stepping back again as he tried to bring that down on his head. Naruto was quick and hopped forward and drove a strong knee into Sasuke's chin. The raven-haired boy stumbled back a moment but then narrowed his eyes at the whiskered blonde, wiping some blood from his busted lip. Sasuke wasted no time in getting back into the spar. He attacked with fast punches and kicks, Naruto blocking attacks with his knees and shins while avoiding attacks with his upper body. Naruto countered with his own attacks, striking with knees and straight kicks. Sasuke jumped back, narrowly dodging a kick aimed for his chest, and threw 2 shuriken from the holster on his waist. Naruto dodged both, and Sasuke capitalized on that, slugging the blue-eyed blonde in the face. The Uchiha smirked as it looked like Naruto was falling away and to the ground, but the blonde turned on his heels and raised his leg in a reverse spinning kick. Sasuke saw this and raised his arms, blocking the attack before Naruto could strike him on his head. Sasuke was knocked away. Naruto stayed in place with his leg raised high. He straightened up and put his foot back on the ground. "What the hell was that?" Sasuke said. "Sometimes you have to take a hit to give one," Naruto said. Sasuke growled and quickly let a kunai whiz through the air towards Naruto's head. The blonde's eyebrows furrowed and he deflected the steel blade with his wooden senbon. The two of them closed the distance. Naruto swung his right leg and Sasuke cocked back with his right fist. "Enough." Haruka appeared, catching Sasuke's arm by the wrist and blocking Naruto's kick. "What's going on here?" "Just a friendly spar, Haruka-sensei," Naruto said, setting his foot on the ground and tipping his hat. "Right, well in a spar, most people hold back enough where they don't bust open their opponent's lip," Haruka said, seeing the cut in Sasuke's lip and the healing one in Naruto's. "Lunch is over anyway, get out to the field, everyone." The 7 academy students gathered their lunches and went towards the door. Naruto was last to go, sealing away his empty ramen bowl. Haruka stopped him before he left. Naruto turned around to see the scarred Chunin smirking. "You enjoyed that, beating on the Uchiha?" Naruto smirked. "Not gonna lie, a little, I enjoyed it a little," Naruto said, putting another wooden senbon between his teeth. Haruka chuckled and clasped him on the shoulder. "Keep up the good work, Naruto, and try to get some sleep," Haruka said. The blue-eyed blonde nodded and the two of them walked downstairs. Training field. "Alright, when I call your name, I want you to step into the sparring arena. The matches are 3 minutes long and only end when time is up or one of you gives up, is thrown out of the arena or is knocked out. Is that understood?" Mizuki said. Looking around at the students before him, he already had the last match in mind. Naruto sat in the shade against the trunk of the tree. He looked to be napping, but nobody noticed the hand seal he was making. "Mighten. Cage no Dorifit, Dark Release. Shadow Drifter." Naruto placed one hand on the shaded ground. The shadows moved up his hand, as if swallowing him up, and he sank his arm elbow deep into the ground. "Sweet," Naruto thought with a smirk, bringing his arm back, shaking off the cold, numb feeling. "That's a crappy side effect. It worked on your hand. You're gonna need a bit more training to get the whole body, even more to speed up travel time," Kyuubi said. "Feel joy," Kushina said. "I'm just stating the obvious," the fox demon said. "You're both right, now let me concentrate," Naruto thought with a sigh. If he could see Kushina, he would have seen her stick her tongue out. "Mighten. Kijini, Dark Release." Shadow Demon Naruto jabbed his hand into the shade. It sunk down, out of the corner of his eye. He saw a shadow hand rise from the ground. He curled his fingers, and the shadow's fingers curled. He made a fist, and the shadow made a fist. "That's 2, Naruto said, taking his hand out of the shadows. "Next match, Hinata Hyuga and Sakura Haruno, both combatants please step into the sparring circle and begin." The Pincat and Blanette fought. Hinata, being shy still, was mainly on the defensive, while Sakura, who was improving but her taijutsu still needed work, was on the offensive. "Aw, I don't know who to root for," Naruto said, looking on at the spar, thinking up ways to help both Kunoichi improve. The match timed out and Shino Aburam, the heir to the Aburam clan, went up against Shikamaru after that. "You both did really well," Naruto said, Sakura walking over to him and taking a seat on the swing, Hinata sitting beside the blonde. "Thanks Naruto Nai," Sakura said. Hinata gave a quiet thank you as well. After a few minutes of spars, Choji and Kiba winning theirs, leaving only to 2 students to spar. "Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uzumaki, you two are up," Mizuki said, mentally grinning at the thought of Naruto getting beat down by the Uchiha. Sasuke sneered at Naruto, the cut on his lip had scabbed over, looking more like a faint cut. Naruto sighed and walked into the ring, yawning and dropping into a basic Muay Thai stance. Kiba smirked as he had seen this before, while Sasuke quirked an eyebrow. "I like to keep my opponents guessing," Naruto said. Sasuke just glared at the blonde. Naruto just gave a lazy smirk, in his mind, going through mental hand seals while building up chakra. "Ninjutsu. Toramaki Buritsu, illusion technique. Fangirl Blitz. Begin," Mizuki said, and at that moment, Naruto activated his ninjutsu. Just as Sasuke's steps started to close the distance between them, Naruto smirked hearing his group of fangirls gasp. In their eyes, they saw something amazing. On the back of Sasuke's shirt, it read, "Get a piece, all for you." Each one of them saw their own name. There was a collective squeal, and Sasuke was piled on and stormed by the massive fangirls. Naruto tilted his head in innocent confusion and just blinked. "I guess I win." Mizuki moved to try and save Sasuke from the girls, while the guys just laughed and laughed, Hinata too, though it was more of a giggle. Hey Sakura, if Iruka-sensei asks, I went to talk with the Hokage, Naruto said, walking out of the academy grounds, waving back to his friends as they said their goodbyes to him. Hokage Tower. There was a knock at the twin oak doors marked by the kanji for fire. The Sandaime recognized the chakra signature behind the doors. Enter. The doors opened to reveal the blue-eyed blonde, Naruto Uzumaki. The old man gave a kind smile, and Naruto returned it with a tip of the hat. Hey there, Jiji-san, got another target for me? Naruto asked. No, not today Naruto, I was thinking you should take another break from your side job for a while, Sarutobi said, taking a seat, a sigh of relief escaping him. Oh thank Kami, I couldn't agree with you more, Jiji-san, the whiskered blonde said, and the Sandaime chuckled. It is good to see that you are warming up to me again, Naruto, though you are as disrespectful as ever. I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss the ball of energy that would barge into my office to tell me of his day. Naruto gave a small smile. It had been 2 years and he was starting to like the old man again. He wasn't quite there, but he was getting there. Sarutobi had been giving him various targets since he knew of Naruto's side job. None of them were ever suicide missions, which had restored some faith in the old man, seeing that he was still looking out for him. As for why I called you here, I wanted you to deliver these prisoner files to Ibiki. None of the Anbu will go near the place, and there has been a rise in captures, so most if not all torture and interrogation operatives are bust with the prisoners, Sarutobi said. Naruto quirked an eyebrow. Why are the Anbu so scared? It's an Anko thing, isn't it? The prisoner didn't break during her interrogation, she even broke free of Ibiki's Iron Maiden summon. I'd like you to deliver these files and hopefully calm her down, Sarutobi said. This is really starting to sound like a suicide mission, Jiji-san, Naruto said. Sarutobi chuckled and held up a scroll. How does C-rank mission pay sound? Sound like you've got yourself a delivery boy, Naruto said, catching the scroll. But if I get hit with a Charakunai, it goes up to B-rank pay, the blue-eyed blonde informed the fire shadow, who chuckled and nodded. I've been meaning to talk to you, Jiji-san. Why did you pick Tsume-san, Chaozu-san and Shikaku-san to train me? There must be a reason, Naruto said. They volunteered Naruto. Tsume-san was on the same team as your mother, and the two of them were the best of friends. I'm sure that even if I had not brought up the subject of your training, that she would have trained you anyway. Shikaku-san and Chaozu-san were also great friends with your father, as he had saved them on occasion, and they owed him. But do not think they are doing this to get that debt off of their conscience. They are doing it because they see you as the hero you are, and are trying to help you, Sarutobi said. I see, well, I'll talk to you later about the subject if you don't mind. Later, Naruto got up and tipped his hat to the old Sandaime and took his leave. Torture and interrogation department. Naruto was led into the building by a couple chunin dressed in grey, both wearing black hideate bandanas. The walkthrough was like one big interrogation. Every other fluorescent light would flicker. Naruto found the buzzing infuriating, but soon learned to deal with it. He could hear the squeak of the floor tiles. The heat was turned up to a humid degree, Naruto having to take off his long sleeve because of the dark material. His white muscle shirt fared much better. He soon entered a dimly lit room. A scarred Takebetsu Jonin sat at the black mahogany desk, going through paperwork. Naruto could see a variety of tools laying around. He could see a corkscrew on the desk and a blowtorch hidden behind the desk. Hey there Biki, the man stopped and looked up, multiple scars marred his face. Naruto, sorry to tell you, but I don't think Anko is in the mood for one of your games, said the man. Naruto dropped the files on his desk. Actually, I'm here to help, mind showing me to the prisoner who didn't crack? Naruto asked. Ibiki just quirked an eyebrow and shrugged. He led Naruto to the room. Behind the one-way mirror was a man who looked worse for wear. His face was gaunt with a 5 o'clock shadow, his hair was greasy black and disheveled, his right foot kept tapping, and he tapped his fingers over and over again. A junkie right? I can tell from all the nervous tics, he keeps scratching, Naruto said. You're right, this guy is used to abuse, and even Anko's torture didn't work on this guy. We believe has information on a drug ring in a nearby village. Without him we have no proof and by extension, no jurisdiction because we can't just go into a village and turn it inside out on a hunch, Ibiki said, crossing his arms in front of his chest. Why haven't you worked on him yet? Naruto asked. The man jumped as the lights flickered. He quirked an eyebrow. I couldn't get to him because I've been busy fixing the rookie's mistakes and doing my own work. Why did you want to see this guy? Naruto raised his right hand and in a puff of smoke, donned his clawed glove. I'm going to get your information and help Anko-chan, no matter what, I want no interruptions, Naruto said. What the hell makes you think you can do better than my second in command, Gaki, Ibiki said. Naruto turned to him with a smirk. Just trust me, Ibiki-san, I can get him to crack. By the way, I'm gonna need a pain-numbing serum and an adrenaline serum. Ibiki quirked an eyebrow and tossed him a syringe filled with a blue liquid and another with green. The blue-eyed blonde caught it and walked into the room. Ibiki sighed and locked it behind him. He stood in front of the one-way mirror with his arms crossed. Let's see what you got up your sleeves, Gaki, the scarred Takebetsu Jonin thought. Interrogation room. Hey man, WW when C can W wait, WW what are why you doing? The man started to sound scared as Naruto came right him, grabbed his forearm and injected the liquid into his bloodstream, and then injected the adrenaline into the other arm. What the hell W ga? Naruto immediately slugged him across the face with a steel glove, even Ibiki winced, hearing the sickening crack that came from the man's jaw. The man sat back up, and his bottom jaw was nearly perpendicular to the top, and Naruto grabbed it and snapped it back into place. What was that for? The man asked woozily. He blinked multiple times. Naruto smirked, seeing that the adrenaline was kicking in. The first was a pain-numbing serum. You can't feel pain, but I know all too well that the feeling of bones snapping and hearing them snap isn't too pleasant. The second was an adrenaline serum that will keep you going for hours, and unless you tell me what I want to know, I'm going to break every bone in your scrawny body over and over and over and over again, Naruto said, slamming his hands on the table and getting in the man's face for emphasis. Man, sigh, look man, like I told that crazy bitch would Naruto hopped into the air and brought a hammer fist down on the man's clavicle bone, using Kyuubi's chakra to heal it and severely burn him in the process. Quit fucking whining, you're not gonna die from a small fucking burn like that, now talk, Naruto said forcefully. Man, I'm telling you man, I don't know nothing, the man said. Naruto narrowed his eyes hearing his heartbeat pick up, his foot tapping become more erratic, and it was just a bonus when the man started biting his fingernails. He mentally grinned seeing him jump at the sight of a cockroach escaping into a crack in the wall. Alright then, Naruto activated the silencing seal on the inside and started a series of hand seals, Akumuten Jinjutsu. Shizukana Oka, Nightmare Release Illusion Technique. Silent Hill. It is exactly what you think. What the hell? Ibiki said. He saw Naruto touch the man's head with his steel claw as it glowed a bluish purple. The man convulsed and he leaned back in the chair as his eyes rolled back. Both of them were still. The man's mind. Where am I? Where the fuck am I? The junkie screamed. He was standing on top of a large hill, snow rained down from the expansion of gray clouds, a single frozen tree with a swing hanging from a large branch. The man shivered. The man covered his ears as a glass-shattering scream tore through the air. As quickly as it started, it stopped. He saw a white ball bounce past him and turn to its origin. A little girl dressed in white stood there in the snow. What? The girl raised her head and showed that she had no eyes. Her mouth opened wide and she let loose a glass-shattering, ear-splitting, earth-shaking scream. The man was blown back by the force of the scream. He turned in the air and he fell down farther and farther. He was coming up on a black mass quickly. The man screamed as he saw it was a mass of bugs. He crashed into the black mass. He tried to jump out but was overtaken and swept underneath a sea of insects. He moved towards a shadowed figure on the shore. He moved towards it and clasped its hand just as he was swept under the sea of insects once again. He was pulled out. He coughed up a large number of roaches and shuddered, shaking more of them off. He was pulled to his feet. Thanks man, He looked up and stopped talking. He was looking into dark purple eyes with red pupils. And he was thrown back into the sea of bugs. Reality. Ibiki looked on in slight awe as the man finally broke down and started spilling his guts, Naruto using the tape recorder provided to record the confession. Damn, Ibiki mumbled. Naruto walked out inside and yawned. Alright, just show me to Anko, I can make this place relatively safe again, Naruto said. Ibiki's chuckle turned into a full-blown laugh. You're not so bad, Gaki, follow me, said the Takebetsu Jonin, clasping Naruto on the shoulder. I do have to warn you, she swiped a few of the rookie's kunai and shuriken pouches, and some idiot unfortunately locked her in a room full of chairs. Oh joy. Hey Naruto, you did really well. When you're done here, go home and come in here. I want to show you a special ability of the Uzumaki. With me being here, you'll be able to use it too, Kushina said. Alright, I don't think Tsum-sen will mind if I skip training for today, Naruto said. Oh how wrong he was. 1 year later, last one before Shippuden. Rog. A tree was ripped from the ground and tossed away into the air. A shadowed figure pointed its right hand towards the airborne tree and it fired 3 orbs of flames. On contact the orbs created mini explosions that shattered the tree, splinters raining down around him. Chains retreating into the figure's back. Naruto Uzumaki's face was illuminated by the light of a lighter as he lit his cigarette. His azure eyes looked into the distance as the sun was beginning to set. He tipped his hat as he normally did and exhaled a puff of smoke. You're really improving with the chakra chains, Naruto Kushina said in his mind. The hot shots as well, Kyuubi said. Thanks you too, looks like it's time to get to work, said the blonde, turning around and jogging towards the village. Naruto had been training every minute of every day for the past year, though he had been doing that anyway, the past year had been a bit more intense. Kushina had shown him the special ability of the Uzumakis, the chakra chains, special chains that were linked to the user that could be used to attack, defend and restrain enemies. He had also trained his katen to such a high point that he could focus it into the openings of the blades and fire explosive bullets of compressed flames, something he had named hot shots. His taijutsu had continued to improve, he had learned two styles to go with his knowledge of the human bone structure and vital and nerve points, the first being Muay Thai and the other called Black Leg, a fighting style that focuses on the legs, a multitude of techniques that can break the opponent down. He had found a katen teacher and Jinjutsu teacher in Konoha's Snake Queen and Ice Queen, Anko Mitarashi and Kurina Yuhi respectively, and after mastering the chakra control exercises from tree climbing without using the hands to doing vertical push-ups on top of kunai tips, he had become very well adept in the normal styles of Jinjutsu. The Hokage had been giving him more missions, but every few days instead of almost every other to give him some sort of break, and thanks to that, the nightmares had become few and far between, the whiskered blonde finally able to sleep peacefully for the most part. The whiskered blonde had arrived at his apartment in a few minutes and made his way to his room to prepare for tonight. This is gonna be fun, Naruto thought as a smirk spread across his face. Flashback, Naruto entered the examination room, giving Iruka a vague wave and then giving Mizuki a fake smile, which the white-haired trader returned. Alright Naruto, first, demonstrate Henge no Jutsu, transformation technique, the scarred Chunin said. Naruto made single hand seal and transformed into the spitting image of Iruka. Very good, now demonstrate the Kawarimi no Jutsu, replacement technique, Naruto returned to normal and nodded, he made a single hand seal and replaced himself with Mizuki, who fell on his ass, not expecting Naruto to do that. Iruka was calm on the outside but was laughing on the inside. That's 2 down Naruto, now for the Bunshin no Jutsu, cloning technique, Naruto inhaled deeply and made a single hand seal once again, in a puff of smoke, a lifeless pale Naruto lay on the ground next to the original. Sorry Naruto, I'm afraid that you fail, Iruka sighed. On Iruka, it's just a Bunshin, we could give a second chance or at least let him slide, Mizuki said. We can't do that, the stipulations of graduation are very clear, failing to perform all 3 academy ninjutsu counts as an automatic failure, Iruka said as he wailed towards the door, I'm sorry Naruto, better luck next year. Naruto nodded and sighed, putting his hands in his pockets, he was about to walk out when he was stopped by Mizuki. Hey Naruto, meet me outside, there is something I want to talk to you about. Naruto just blinked a couple times and nodded and exited the room. Iruka and the platinum blonde Ino walking past him. No one saw the grin on the whiskered blonde's face. Outside, Naruto looked on at the parents congratulating their children on passing, some even whispering about him, but he just ignored it. Naruto, the white-haired Chunin walked up beside him. Hey Mizuki-sensei, what did you want to talk to me about? Naruto asked, and the Chunin gave him a fake smile. About another way to graduate, it's like a makeup exam, all you have to do is steal the forbidden scroll from the Hokage's tower and learn one technique from it and you pass, simple as that, the blonde's eyes lit up. Really? That's all? Naruto asked. That's all. Alright, I accept. Naruto said, jumping down excitedly and running off to get ready. Idiot, Mizuki mumbled with a wicked smirk spreading across his face. Thumbus, Naruto thought as he ran home. Naruto slipped on black pants and buckled his belt, which had Uzushio swirl for a buckle. A white dress shirt and a dark orange tie, a black double-breasted button-up vest. Another red swirl on the right side of his chest. Rolling up the sleeves and donning the hat, he was ready. What's with the clothes, got a hot date? Naruto didn't have to look to know that the cycloptic former Anbu, Kakashi was raiding his house for a snack. Something like that, Naruto said, sealing away the claw glove for later, and there is no law against a mercenary having a little style. True, but I doubt you can fight in that, Kakashi said. Naruto quirked an eyebrow and gave the scarecrow a challenging gaze, Kakashi just stood there. Naruto made a swift crescent kick in the blink of an eye, Kakashi dodging around it, tossing the box of biscuits into the air. Naruto blocked a punch and stepped back, moving his head to the right to dodge a swift kick, he spun on the spot, Kakashi blocking the reverse spin kick. Naruto hopped away and Kakashi caught the box, tossing it into Naruto's line of sight. The blonde kept it up and then crossed his arms in front of his face, blocking a couple quick jabs from Kakashi, and returned the favor with a couple of his own. Kakashi stepped back and dodged them. Naruto stepped forward and spun on the spot, Kakashi stepped back again to avoid the reverse spinning elbow aimed for his face. He went to sweep Naruto's leg, but Naruto jumped up and tried to drive a knee into his chin. Kakashi back flipped over the table that was behind him and caught the box as Naruto's feet touched the ground. The whiskered blonde merely stuck his hands in his pants pockets, a ghost of a smirk on his face. Alright you little show-off, I do hope you're right about Mizuki, otherwise the stealing is gonna be on your head and civilians are not gonna like that, said the silver-haired Jonin, going back to his snack. You think I give a shit about what the civilians think? Besides, I know I'm right, I have everything set up so nothing can go wrong, Naruto said. Kakashi shrugged and went back to eating his biscuits. Naruto took the box as he walked into the kitchen. And quit eating my food you damn moocher, the blonde said. Mooch? Aw, that cut deep Naruto, really deep, I prefer the term freeloader, Kakashi said, leaning against the doorframe. Same damn thing, Naruto said, turning and giving the Jonin a half-hearted sneer, a metal senbon between his teeth. The cycloptic Jonin gave his infamous eye smile, he raised his hand and caught the box of biscuits as a clone of himself tossed them. I know, I just needed to distract you, later. And with that, the Jonin was gone. The blonde sighed and gave himself a once-over in the mirror. Straightening his tie, he walked over to the living room table. 99 markings were carved into the table, he carved in another. Number 100, a smirk spread across his face and headed for the door. Kyuubi and his mother Kushina had been surprisingly quiet since training. Quit cheating furball. Kushina yelled. How the hell am I cheating? I can't control the cards, you just suck at strip poker and gambling altogether. Kyuubi said. So much for that I was actually enjoying the silence, Naruto sighed again, he had been doing that more than ever. Hokage's office. Naruto arrived at the Sandame's office, walking right in as the old man had told him to enter the moment he reached the door. The old fire shadow stood there, his hand on top of a large green and yellow scroll standing up beside him. Are you sure about this, Naruto? Not that I do not trust your judgment, but this plan could easily backfire, Sarutobi said. I know what I'm doing, Jiji-san, have a little faith, Naruto said, picking up the large scroll and slinging the strap across his shoulders. The Sandame nodded. I do have to ask, what is with the new look? Sarutobi asked and he noticed Naruto quirked an eyebrow. I know that look, Naruto, I may be old, but there is a reason I'm known as the Kami no Shinobi, the two of them smirked. Like I told Kakashi, there's no rule against a mercenary having a little style, the spiky-haired blonde said, turning and heading for the door. Hey, can I get paid up front for this one? I'm thinking of doing some more renovating on my apartment, Naruto asked. I suppose so, I have learned to trust your information on matters such as this, the old man tossed Naruto a scroll with blue-green trim, marked by a B. Thanks Jiji-san, later, Naruto gave a two-finger salute and closed the door behind himself. The old Sandame just chuckled and sat in his chair. I'm not sure if you would be proud of what he has done, Minato, and I know you hold some content for me for this being my fault, but he truly is a hero, he was then and is now, even if no one knows it, the old man thought, lighting his tobacco pipe with a small Kaiten technique and taking a couple tokes. But Naruto, know it interesting, the blonde was currently sitting in a clearing the woods, looking through the scroll, seeing if there were any techniques worth learning. He knew now that it was called the Forbidden Scroll for a reason, because most, if not all, the techniques required either high amounts of chakra to use that could kill even Anbu from one use, or the sacrificing of the user's soul. Naruto stopped on one of the many seals, intricate markings around faded kanji. He squinted, hoping to find out what it is but to no avail, he could only make out the one kanji for blade. Naruto cuffed his chin and thought. I've already got the chains in my claw, but the chains can be broken, and that paralyzes me for a moment, and the claw is only good for so much in close combat. It's worth a look at least, he mused, he drew blood from his thumb and made a single hand seal. Hi. He slammed his hand down on the page, getting a small amount of blood on the seal, and in a poof of smoke, he was holding a hilt. No blade. Just a hilt with purple wrapping, a guard, a gold pommel and diamond pattern along the sides. A drop of sweat hung over his head. And there is no blade, this is just a fucking hilt, ah damn it, he just sighed and placed it under his belt, perhaps he would find a use for it. He proceeded to roll up the scroll and just wait for the arrival of the white-haired traitor, seeing as how he had nothing better to do. Naruto. He looked up at the call of his name, his teacher, Iruka Yamino, appearing in the clearing via Shunshin, body flicker. He had a serious expression on his face, while Naruto was just giving him a blank stare. The corners of the Chunin's mouth twitched up into a grin, and the blonde smirked. Izuki is on his way, should be a few minutes, Iruka said, pointing over his shoulder. Thanks, I hate waiting, Naruto said, adjusting his hat on his head. He's here in 3, 2, 1, Iruka made a single hand seal. Naruto put on his best scared face. Iruka-sensei. Look out. Naruto ran forward to try and push the Chunin out of the way. Iruka did the same and turned around, he was thrown back and pinned to a tree by a flurry of kunai and shuriken, he went up in smoke, a log replacing him. Naruto looked towards the origin of the blades, Mizuki jumping from the trees with a smug smirk on his face and two large Fuma shuriken on his back. Looks like the coward managed to save himself, probably scurrying back to the village with his tail between his legs. Pathetic, Mizuki said, seeing that the scarred Chunin had replaced himself in the nick of time. He turned his attention to the spiky-haired blonde. Naruto straightened his tie once again and cleared his throat. Hey there Mizuki team, Naruto said, giving him a half-assed smile and a vague wave. The white-haired Chunin just sneered. Hand over the scroll, brat, I don't have time to play around, Mizuki said, walking towards Naruto as he took a Fuma shuriken from his back. I cannot anger Orochimaru-sama. I must be quick about this. Naruto took a step forward with the scroll, but stopped. On second thought, I think I'm gonna hold on to it actually, never know what could happen if this got into the wrong hands, Naruto said, leaning the large scroll against a tree. Mizuki sneered and started spinning the large steel star, the wind rustling the grass beneath the Chunin's feet. Last chance you little bastard. Mizuki growled. Naruto merely raised his right arm and motioned for Mizuki to come at him. Let's see what you got, Naruto taunted. Mizuki gave a battle cry as he reared back and launched the Fuma Shuriken, the large steel star whizzing through the air towards the blonde, a smirk spread across his face. He stepped forward and in one fluid motion, hooked his hand in the center circle and spun around, sending it right back at Mizuki who jumped into the air to avoid it. Time to give Black Leg a test run, Naruto said, relaxing his upper body as he always did, speeding towards Mizuki, closing the distance between them in seconds. How is he so fast? Mizuki thought. Naruto jumped high and spun, gathering momentum as he swung his left leg. Epaulet. Shoulder, Naruto connected a solid kick with Mizuki's right shoulder, sending him into the ground and bouncing away. The Chunin bounced to his feet and took the other shuriken from his back as well, and letting it fly as Naruto raced towards him. The spiky-haired blonde jumped and flipped over the shuriken, raising his right leg to a near vertical split as he came down. Epaulet shoot. Shoulder shoot, Mizuki dived away as his leg came down, the impact creating a small crater in the ground. The Hokage, Kakashi, Anko and Kurenai were currently watching the blonde through the Hokage's crystal ball. They impressed by the blonde's skill so far. I definitely underestimated the kid, I thought he was just some kid in over his head, but he's proved me wrong, the red-eyed Kurenai said. I taught him everything he knows, Anko said with a large grin, jamming her thumb into her well-endowed chest. Liar Kakashi and Kurenai deadpanned. The Sandaime just ignored them, preferring to watch the action. Go get him, Naruto, he thought. When did the demon brat become this strong? Mizuki thought loudly in his mind, though he did not know how much skill this demon had been hiding, he knew one thing for certain, that he was not about to be beaten. The Chunin sped through hand seals as Naruto ran towards him. Oten. Ganchuusu. Earth release. Stone spikes. Earth spikes shot up from the ground, Naruto just continued to smirk, dancing around them with fancy footwork, not a single one even so much as grazing him. Mizuki backpedaled quickly as Naruto escaped his attack without so much as a scratch. Not good enough, Naruto taunted, trying to goad Mizuki into making a mistake. I'll show you, you little demon. Mizuki yelled, rage in his eyes, his weak eye rising. He quickly went through two hand seals and kicked up a rock, lengthening it into a 6-foot-long staff. Oten. Gansetsuken. Earth release. Rock staff. Naruto blocked a swing from Mizuki and Mizuki blocked a kick from Naruto. Attacks were blocked and parried, Mizuki becoming steadily angrier, and it could be felt in the strength of his attacks and in his eyes as well. The spiky-haired blonde parried one last attack and capitalized on this. Poitrine. Chest. Naruto delivered a stabbing kick to Mizuki's chest, his heel being the first to make contact, the hit causing the white-haired Chunin to cough up a small amount of blood. Mizuki went tumbling back, but hopped to his feet, Naruto not letting up on his assault and running around to attack from the right. Damn it. Doten. Ganchuusu. Mizuki slammed the base of the rock staff on the ground and multiple earth spikes shot up again, the whiskered blonde jumped and corkscrewed in between two large spikes, he went into a one-handed handstand and spun with his legs in a split. Kotelet. Rib, Mizuki tried to avoid the attack, but Naruto was too fast and his foot connected squarely with Mizuki's ribcage, an audible crack was heard. Naruto reversed his spinning and used his hands to move towards Mizuki. Cell. Lower back, Naruto's leg struck Mizuki's lower back, throwing the Chunin forward and rolling along the ground. Ugh. The white-haired Chunin cried out in pain, Naruto hopped up and ran towards Mizuki. Naruto jumped and slid along the ground and reared his right leg back, Mizuki looked up just as Naruto attacked. Collar. Neck. Naruto delivered a powerful kick to the side of Mizuki's neck, direct hit, brachial plexus origin, Naruto thought, the white-haired Chunin coughed up a bit more blood and went sailing through the air and slamming hard into the ground. He was unmoving. I was kind of hoping to use hot shots, but oh well, another day I guess, Naruto mused, donning his clawed glove, an ethereal glow of a bluish-purple aura surrounded it. Now, for my newest technique made it just for you Mizuki team. Naruto, even I think that is too far do it. Haha. Kyuubi laughed. Kushina could speak as Kyuubi was silencing her with his tails to keep her from stirring Naruto from using the technique. The Kumuten Jinjutsu. Shin no Kyofu Orochimaru no Kakurega, Nightmare Release Illusion Technique. True fear, Orochimaru's lair, Mizuki's eyes widened as he was put under the power of Naruto's technique, Naruto stepped away, waiting to see the result, but then thought of something. Traitors must be punished, that Jinjutsu is not enough, Naruto smiled evilly, ripping the metal plate from Mizuki's bandana, and he snapped his fingers on his clawed glove, a small flame igniting. If you don't want these images burned in your mind, don't read. Skip to next bold. Mizuki's world came back into focus. Where the fuck am I? Mizuki tried to move his head, but he was stomach first on a stone slab, and his arms and ankles were bound by chains, and he was naked. What is this? He froze with fear, hearing a spine-chilling chuckle, one that could many of the bravest shinobi piss their pants in fear. Kukukuku, no need to fear Mizuki-kun, I promise to make this as painless as possible. Mizuki nearly rotated his head a full 180 degrees on his neck. He saw the white-skinned Sannin, Orochimaru, as naked as the day he was born. Okami. Naruto. Naruto, I'm sorry, please get me out of here. Mizuki screamed at the top of his lungs. His eyes widened further in absolute fear as Orochimaru unveiled many toys and an industrial-sized tub of Vaseline. Orochimaru licked his lips with his long snake-like tongue. Time to get started, Mizuki-kun, kukuku. He grabbed a nine-tailed whip. Aye. Mizuki screamed his head. He tried to dispel it, but this illusion wasn't stopping anytime soon. Reality. A few minutes later, Naruto had finished Mizuki's true punishment, fusing the metal hideate plate over Mizuki's mouth, knowing the Chunin would only feel it when he woke because of the coma-like state his Genjutsu put people in. Then 3, 2, 1, Naruto snapped his fingers and Mizuki came back. The Chunin screamed and screamed and screamed, or at least he tried. He clawed at the metal plate over his lips as he thrashed around in pain, trying to avoid placing his butt on the ground, but the plate was on there. Oh, almost forgot, Naruto activated the index claw and slashed through Mizuki's hideate plate. I hope you had fun in my little illusion, Mizuki, he said with a wide grin. The white-haired Chunin flicked him off. Naruto stepped on the finger and broke it, adding to Mizuki's pain. Tears streaming down his cheeks. You're probably wondering why you're not passing out. That's actually very simple. He extracted an empty syringe. A special adrenaline courtesy of Anko Mitarashi keeps you going and has no effects on the heart, so no matter how much you panic and your heart speeds up, you won't die, the whiskered blonde said. The white-haired Chunin was tempted to flick him off again, but remembered what happened only a minute ago. The next second, the Sandaime Hokage appeared, smoking his signature tobacco pipe. He took up the scroll. Kakashi appeared the next second and brought Mizuki to his feet. Very impressive, Naruto, Sarutobi said. Kakashi nodded in agreement. Naruto just tipped his hat and pocketed the senbon in favor of a cigarette. He inhaled deeply and exhaled with a sigh. He caught something that the Sandaime tossed to him. It was a Konoha hideate. Thanks, Jiji-san, but I don't think I'll need this, Naruto said. The old fire shadow stopped him from tossing it back. Think of it as an alibi, Naruto. This way you'll be able to take on missions outside of the village and have the authority to do what you need to do. As far as anyone is concerned, you're officially a Chunin of Konohagakure, the old man said. That was a surprise. What about the Chunin exams? Naruto asked. You'll still participate with your team, but everyone who needs to will know about your rank. You don't have to win, just participate, said the Sandaime, taking another toke from his smoking pipe. Naruto nodded and put the hideate inside of his vest. Thanks, Jiji-san. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got sleeping to do, Naruto said, dropping the cigarette and stomping it out. He was about to walk away when two familiar voices reached his ears. Aki, what have I told you about smoking? Kurenai and Anko appeared via Shunshin. Naruto just gave them a blank look and blinked a couple times before giving them his famous fox grin and a tip of his hat. Busted. Kyuubi and Kushina said at the same time. Could you two be any more childish? One of you is king for Shinigami's sake, Naruto thought. Ladies, Naruto broke into a run towards the village, with two of Konoha's sexiest kunoichi hot on his heels. You think he'll be okay? Kakashi asked. The Sandaime merely shrugged and walked away, leaving Kakashi to take Mizuki to the nearest holding facility. The next day, the graduating class of shinobi and kunoichi talked and laughed loudly, sitting around the classroom discussing random topics. The majority of the girls were swooning over Sasuke, who just sat there, basking in the attention he was getting on the inside, but was as stoic as ever on the outside. All but three were swooning, those three being Hinata Hyuga, Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka, who had only liked Sasuke in order to make Sakura stronger through their rivalry, but now that Sakura was stronger and barely thinking of the Uchiha, she didn't have to. I can't believe Naruto Nai didn't pass. He had more skill than anyone here, Sakura thought, wondering who the third member of her squad would be, as she knew she would be paired with Sasuke due to her being the Kunoichi of the year and the Uchiha being the rookie of the year. She wasn't the only one who was bummed out. Kiba, Hinata and to a lesser extent, Shikamaru and Choji weren't too happy about Naruto's failing either. Sakura had changed over the past couple years she had known Naruto. She had gone from a girl who wore bright clothes and had an eating disorder to a skilled Kunoichi. She wore a dark red tunic with medical tape around her midriff. A battle skirt with slits up the sides and black spandex shorts and black ninja sandals, a kunai holster around her right thigh and a shuriken pouch on her hip. Her hand was slightly shorter than it used to be and was in a ponytail, held back by her hideate. The classroom went quiet at the opening of the door and a well-dressed person stepped inside. The person removed their hat to reveal spiky blonde hair and azure blue eyes, none other than Naruto Uzumaki. "Yo," was all he said. "Naruto, not that I'm not happy for you, but what are you doing here? This meeting is only for the students who graduated," Kiba said, pointing towards his own hidiate. Naruto pulled out his own hidiate. "I did," was all Naruto said before stowing the forehead protector and walking to his seat. He was caught up in a hug from Sakura which he returned. "It's great that you passed Naruto Nai, but how did you do it?" Sakura asked and Naruto froze. "Double frick. I didn't think of an excuse." Naruto yelled in his mind. He cleared his throat and adjusted his hat. Just a grading mistake, yeah, I actually passed the written test and I did well enough in the ninjutsu portion that they let me pass, haha," Naruto chuckled. Sakura didn't believe him, but she would go with it for now until she got the truth. Iruka entered the classroom. After a few minutes of trying to shut them up and the students continuing to talk, he decided to quiet them down using his patented big head jutsu, and it worked like a charm as each and every one of his students sat down immediately. "Alright class, I'm going to be giving you your assigned squads and Jonin sensei who will be by shortly to take you to your team meeting grounds, understood?" The scarred Chunin, after getting a chorus of "hi," Iruka sensei nods and grunts, he looked at his clipboard. "Team 1, I already know who my team will be, I wonder what this sort of trials actually does," Naruto thought, letting his mind wander to the sword hilt that was inside of his vest. His thoughts were interrupted by the call of his name. "Team 7, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Naruto Uzumaki, your Jonin leader will be Kakashi Haddock," Iruka said. The blonde and Pinkat were happy to be on the same team, but Sasuke ruined the moment. "If either of you get in my way, I won't hesitate to go through you." Sakura didn't comment, but Naruto did. "Issues?" Sakura giggled and Sasuke was tempted to give the blonde a death glare, but Iruka interrupted them with the rest of the teams. "Teammate will by Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburam, your Jonin leader will be Kurenai Yuhi, Team 9 is still in circulation from last year, and finally Team 10 will be Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akimichi and Shikamaru Nara, and your Jonin leader will be Asuma Sarutobi. Did everyone get that?" Iruka asked. Again the class chorused their confirmation. After a few minutes, Jonin started arriving to take their students. Kurenai appeared in the room with a beard smoking Jonin with a fire temple bandana around his waist. "Team 8, you're with me," the raven-haired beauty said. "Team 10, let's go," said the Jonin now identified as Asuma Sarutobi. Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke were the final three left in the classroom. Naruto kicked his feet and tipped his hat to shade his eyes. "Get comfortable guys, it's gonna be a while," Naruto said. Sakura shrugged and decided to get a few minutes sleep herself while Sasuke sat there, brooding as usual. After an hour and his eyes getting steadily heavier after a long training session the previous night, Sasuke fell asleep as well. 3 hours later, oh man. Naruto sighed, stretching his limbs. Naruto waking up also woke Sakura and Sasuke, but what really got to them was the snoring. And none of them were asleep, being the only three in there. They all looked back to see a Jonin with gravity-defying silver hair leaning back in his set, snoring lightly with an orange Icha book over his face. Naruto chuckled while the Pinkat and raven-haired Uchiha gave the sleeping Jonin a deadpan look. "Sakura, team, meet Kakashi Haddock, our Jonin sensei," and with that, the Jonin woke up, taking the book off of his face and snapping it shut, a mask covering the lower half of his face, and his hidiate slanted to cover his left eye. He gave the three Genin an eye smile. "Hello my cute little Genin, have a nice nap?" he asked. "Why didn't you wake us up?" Sasuke asked, ignoring the man's question. "You all look so peaceful and I didn't want to wake you, common courtesy and all that," Kakashi said. Getting up and stretching his own stiff muscles. "Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes," he said as soon as he reached the bottom step, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Naruto placed his hand on Sakura's shoulder and the two of them disappeared as well, leaving Sasuke behind. Bastards, rooftop. Team 7 was gathered on the academy rooftop, Kakashi sitting cross-legged on the ground with his Icha book in hand, his Genin team sitting across from him. "Alright, I really don't like repeating myself so listen closely, I'm going to go around and when I point to you, tell me your name, your likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams for the future. Pinky, you're first," the Cycloptic Jonin said without looking up from his book. "Oh, alright, my name is Sakura Haruno, I like training and being with my friends, I dislike bullies and lazy senseis," she gave Kakashi a glare. "Lazy people aren't that bad are we?" The Cycloptic Jonin thought, his inner self wallowing in sadness, his finger tracing over the ground. "My hobbies are training and hanging out with my friends and my dreams for the future, to be a great kunoichi." Kakashi gave her his infamous eye smile. Alright, guy with the duck butt haircut, you're up," Kakashi said. Sasuke slightly narrowed his eyes at the Jonin. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha, I like nothing, I dislike everything, my hobbies are none of your concern, and my dream is more of an ambition, to kill a certain man." Kakashi had a drop of sweat hanging over his head. "Well, he's an interesting one." Okay then, Blondie, your turn, Kakashi said. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, I like things and I don't like things, I've got hobbies, and I don't really have a dream. Kakashi chuckled. Well, all we got was your name, the silver-haired Jonin said with an eye smile, and normal Kunoichi, an Avenger and Naruto. I'm starting to wonder what did I get myself into. What about you, sensei? Sakura said. My name is Kakashi Haddock, I like things and I don't like things, I have hobbies, and I haven't really thought of my dreams for the future, Kakashi said, looking up towards the sky. Copycat, Naruto said, the silver-haired Jonin turned on him with his eye smile. That's my name, don't wear it out. Now, I want all of you to meet at training ground number 7 tomorrow at 6 AM. If you are late you fail. Oh, and don't eat breakfast, or you will puke, Jana. Kakashi disappeared once again, leaving 2 slightly annoyed genin and 1 who was just staring off into space. Eat breakfast, you guys. The blonde stood up and dusted off his pants. It's just a test, trust me on that. Neither the Pinket nor the raven-haired Uchiha could question him because he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Unknown location. The seals are finally complete, a dark chuckle echoed through the seemingly endless darkness of a large cavern. The only light coming from the opening in the roof of the cave and multiple lit candles placed on top of rocks and around a circle. Inside that circle were 3 smaller circles, intricate seals leading towards the spiral in the center. Zetsu, summon your clones. A man that looked strikingly like a Venus flytrap, one half white the other black and his hair green. The plant-like man dressed in a black cloak with red clouds with white outline, he raised his right hand and 3 copies of the white half rose up from the ground. Each one stepping into the center of one of the circles. Another figure dressed in a black cloak stepped into the light, throwing away the brush and ink that he used to create the large seal. He placed his hands together in the tiger hand seal. After years of searching through archives and studying ancient jutsu, I finally have everything I need to bring that wretched village to its knees. He started going through hand seals at blinding speeds. As he did, he started to chant. 3 souls damned, beings imprisoned in the deepest fire, a specter, an undying soul, a being of pure darkness, 3 souls bathed in sin now walk this earth once again, Kuchiyusyumi no Jutsu. Shumatsu ran Takina Saisei. Underworld summoning technique. Apocalyptic rebirth, he voice deepened and echoed, shaking the foundation of the cavern. A dark purple and black aura surrounded in his body. He slammed his hands on the 2 spirals in front of him, which glowed the same glow. The glow moved up the seals towards the large circle and all through it, becoming an entangled web of dark light, finally reaching the 3 spirals in the inner circles. Massive pillars of flames burst up around the 3 white Zetsu clones. They yelled in agony as they were burned alive, their bodies morphing inside of the flames. The real Zetsu stepped back in fear of what he was seeing and the enormous amounts of Kai in the air. The pillars were all destroyed, one by a loud battle cry, and the other 2 were cut by large blades. One of them was a normal-sized man in yellow and black armor with glowing eyes, his armor reminiscent of the extinct Shirai Ryu clan, 2 swords crossed on his back. Another was a large man in tattered clothes, a machete in his right hand and a white mask over his face. The last was the largest and most muscled, wearing tattered hakama pants with a pyramid-shaped metal mask over his head, wielding a large butcher knife-like blade and a spear across his back. Scorpion, Jason and Pyramid Head, 3 damned souls brought back to the mortal plane once again to wreak havoc. Haha, perfect, the cloaked figure chuckled darkly. Jason, Scorpion and Pyramid Head alive to wreak havoc once again. Haha, perfect. The figure cloaked in black chuckled darkly. The 3 men just standing there, 2 were silent while Scorpion was ready to attack, wanting answer as to why he was no longer in hell. Who the fuck are you? Scorpion asked. In the blink of an eye unsheathed one of the katana from his back and from his free hand, a kunai on a wire came from his palm. Jason and Pyramid Head saw this and being creatures of habit, prepared to fight, Jason taking a machete from behind his back and Pyramid Head raised a butcher knife sword. Haha, your new master of course, he said, Zetsu sinking into the ground feeling the Kai rise. Scorpion glared at the cloaked figure. You know what I said to the last person who said that? Scorpion asked. The cloaked figure gave a tilt of the head. No, what? That over here. Scorpion launched the kunai in the blink of an eye, wrapping around the man's neck. Scorpion pulled him forward and the moment he was in range delivered a vicious elbow to the man's head, only for the whole body to explode, sending the Hell Spectre crashing into the rocks. Did I forget to mention that I replaced myself with an exploding clone? Sorry about that, the man said in a condescending tone. Scorpion glared at him, but he rolled away as Jason came at him with the machete. I'm not your enemy here, you psychotic freak. Scorpion said. Jason merely came at him again and again, the Shirai Ryu assassin blocking each powerful slash with his katana. It appears that I won't have to fight after all, the cloaked figure mused. He was about to sit down on a nearby rock when he rolled away, PH's spear flying past him and embedding itself deep into the rock wall. So much for that idea. He jumped up just as the massive man brought down the butcher knife sword. The cloaked figure landed on the blunt of side of the blade and lunged forward, driving a knee into PH's sternum, but the man didn't even flinch. A sword was thrust from beneath the man's cloak and pierced PH's chest. Black blood ran from the wound, but again, the man didn't even flinch. High pain tolerance, the cloaked figure thought. Pyramid Head cocked his fist back, and when it came in contact, it passed right through the cloaked man, who immediately backed away. The massive man pulled the sword from the ground and the spear from the wall. The hunting knife flew through the air and passed through the back of the cloaked man's head and into Pyramid Head's chest. Burn. The cloaked man barely turned around. Scorpion removed his mask, revealing his flaming skeleton head, exhaling a large red-hot fireball. Oten. Doroku Geshi, Earth Release. Terra Shield. The cloaked figure stomped his foot on the ground and a slab of earth flipped up in the path of the fireball. The earth slab exploded in chunks of flaming rock. Jason and Pyramid Head charged into the smoke, the spear being thrust into the smoke, and Jason swung the machete down, coming in contact with something solid with a sickening squelch. As the smoke cleared, Jason had his machete embedded into Pyramid Head's shoulder, and the spear was thrust through Jason's shoulder. The two behemoths pulled their weapons away, and Scorpion put his mask back on. Pyramid Head slugged Jason in the face, and the masked murderer swung his free arm and struck the metal mask. A loud dull ring echoed through the cavern. The cloaked man reappeared and took his sword back, slashing Jason a couple times, the behemoth coming after him, Scorpion moving to attack the cloaked man from behind when he appeared in a burst of flames. Pyramid Head let the spear fly through the air, the cloaked man moved and it impaled Jason through the stomach. The cloaked man also ran through Scorpion as the Hell Spectre launched the kunai from his palm, Jason grabbing onto it and pulling the Shirai Ryu towards him, delivering a bone-shattering punch to his face. Scorpion was sent flying into the rock once again, and Jason pulled the spear from his stomach, crossing weapons with Pyramid Head as the giant brought the butcher knife sword down. Enough of this, the cloaked man stabbed his own katana into the ground, drawing the attention of the three damned souls. What they saw was a single blood-red eye with 3 tomo around the pupil. As I said before, I am your new master. All three of them stood stock still. Jason seemed to fidget in place. Jason, my sweet baby boy, do not listen to this bad man, leave this place and kill for mommy, kill all the bad people for mommy, an elderly female voice echoed in Jason's mind. Why yes mo mommy, the cloaked figure raised a hidden eyebrow seeing the machete wielder move. Jason dropped the spear and crouched down and launched himself out of the opening in the cavern. If the cloaked figure's face could be seen, onlookers would see a smirk. All according to plan. Konoha Training Ground 7. Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke sat around the training grounds, Sasuke brooding as usual, Sakura reading a book on Genjutsu and Naruto, whittling away a block of wood. 3-2-1. The pink-cat and raven-haired boy looked up as Naruto started counting down, and the moment he stopped, Kakashi appeared in the clearing, wearing his infamous eye smile and icha in hand. Hey there, sorry that I'm late, I had to save this elderly man from a group of bandits, and then a black cat crossed my path. Kakashi stopped talking as Sakura let loose 2 kunai. Kakashi opened his eye and caught them by the rings. He let one go toward Sasuke, who dodged it, and they clashed repeatedly. The raven-haired boy jumped into the air, and Naruto spun under him in a one-handed handstand. They're already working like a team, maybe there is hope for them after all, Kakashi thought. Kodalet. Kakashi raised his leg and blocked Naruto's shot to his ribs and disappeared in Shunshin as both Sasuke and Sakura tossed a flurry of shuriken. The cycloptic Jonin appeared next to one of the 3 wooden posts, the 3 genin landing in their fighting stances. Not bad, I didn't think you guys would attack me during my excuse or work together right off the bat. He gave them his eye smile once again as he extracted a clock from his flak jacket and set it on the wooden post. Pocketing his icha book as well. But you're going to have to do a lot better than that if you're going to beat me. You've got until noon to get the 2 silver bells at my side. Kakashi moved his side, let them jingle. The one who doesn't get a bell will be sent back to the academy. No exceptions. He started the timer and opened his eye. Let's go. Sasuke and Naruto took the direct approach, while Sakura sped around to attack from the left. I still dislike you, dope. I'm only doing this for my own benefit, Sasuke said. The feeling is mutual, team, now save your insults for later, Naruto said. The two of them started the same set of hand seals, Sasuke surprising Kakashi. Uh-oh. Pain. Kakakyu no Jutsu. Fire release. Great fireball technique, the 2 genin exhaled large balls of fire. Kakashi turned to retreat. He noticed a kunai with explosive tags flying towards him. Not bad, the flames and explosions combined into a cloud of flames. Sakura and Sasuke thinking they had overdone it, but Naruto only smirked and spun around, blocking a kick from Kakashi with one of his own. Like I said before, you're going to have to do better than that if you want to get these bells, kiddies, the cycloptic Jonin said with an eye smile. Naruto continued to smirk and tipped his hat. T-Cell. Naruto dropped his hands and knocked Kakashi's leg away. As he moved to strike his lower back, Sasuke ran at Kakashi and hopped into the air and swung his leg, Kakashi catching both of their kicks. Naruto twisted his body to lash out with his other leg, Kakashi throwing him away to avoid being hit, Sasuke taking advantage and reaching for the bells. Kakashi saw this, backpedaled away. Kakashi sidestepped a sweeping kick from the Sakura and the spinning kick that followed as she rose to her feet. Barely pushing her away, she let two kunai go and Kakashi moved to dodge them when Sasuke changed their course with two of his own kunai. The silver-haired Jonin blocked them with the metal plate on his glove. Jigo. Legs, Kakashi turned his head to see Naruto going for a fast leg sweep. The Jonin backflipped and avoided the attack, grabbing Naruto's leg before he could transition into another attack and threw him away. Seeing Sakura and Sasuke running towards him, he made a single hand seal. Oten. Shinju's Anshu no Jutsu, Earth Release. Double suicide decapitation technique. Where did he go? Sakura asked. Naruto saw this and started moving quickly. Sasuke. Get off the ground. Naruto shouted, but it was too late. The Uchiha was stopped in his tracks, feeling something grab his ankle. Sasuke looked down to see a gloved hand around his ankle. One down, two to go, the Uchiha was dragged under the earth up to his neck. Kakashi phased up from the ground, moving his visible eye from Naruto to Sakura. You guys don't have all day, you know, Kakashi said in a more nonchalant tone, taking out his Icha book again. Sakura attacked from a distance. Let me handle the hand-to-hand combat. When I distract Kakashi, you free Sasuke. I will have some clones help you, alright. Naruto said, summoning his claw glove. Sakura nodded and took out shuriken and kunai. Ready, go. Naruto dashed forward while Sakura went to the right toward Sasuke, Naruto summoning multiple Kage Bunshin to keep Kakashi's attention on him. Not good enough, Kakashi said. Sakura had heard him and looked at him curiously before turning back just as she reached Sasuke, only Kakashi was in her way. Ninjutsu. Jigoku Hyoji no Jutsu, illusion technique. Hell viewing technique, Sakura couldn't stop and the silver-haired clone poked her in the forehead. Her eyes widened as her world started spinning, leaves swirled around her and her eyelids became heavy. The Naruto clones easily dispelled Kakashi's clone, one of them placed its clawed hand against Sakura's head and her eyes snapped open. Thanks Naruto Nai, she said. The 5 clones gave a tip of the hat. No problem. They went back to trying to free Sasuke. Poitrine Naruto lead off his attack with a stabbing kick for Kakashi's chest, but moved his foot higher and aimed for the book. The silver-haired Jonin sidestepped the kick and moved forward, sweeping for Naruto's other foot, the blonde dodging that as he went into a one-handed handstand again. Kakashi hadn't anticipated Naruto to go up in smoke. Clever blonde, never thought I'd say, the Kakashi thought. He blocked an attack from behind with his free hand without looking, though he could tell Naruto hadn't tried to really attack on that one. You shouldn't be try to be so courageous, Naruto. That gets a shinobi killed much quicker against a superior opponent. I hope you 3 have something special up your sleeves because you're running out of time, Kakashi said, not taking his eyes off of the book in his hand. I've taken to inventing new jutsu for my style because all it takes is a creative imagination. With that being said, I've got something special in store for you, Kakashi-sensei, the blonde said, tipping his hat to hide the mischievous gleam in his eyes. In that case, get the hell away from me. Kakashi dived away as Naruto lashed out with a swift crescent kick. The silver-haired Jonin could feel the air against the side of his head. Kain. Kakakyu no Jutsu. Sasuke exhaled another fireball. Kakashi sighed and made a series of one-handed hand seals. Suiton. Tahouden, water release. Water gun, Kakashi moved the book from in front of his face and spit out a powerful jet of water that quickly extinguished the flames on contact, raising a plume of steam between them, Sakura and Naruto running through it. Alright Sakura, if we time this just right, then we pass, Naruto said. Out of the corner of his eye, he could see Sasuke speeding through the trees to attack Kakashi from behind. The Pinkat Kunoichi nodded. Now Sasuke. Naruto said loudly. He dropped into a one-handed handstand, Kodolet. Sasuke sped from the tree line and extracted 2 kunai, setting his sights on the Jonin. He jumped into the air when he was in range to carry out the plan. Kakashi dodged the shot for his ribs again and caught Sasuke's attack and threw him overhead. Naruto spun into a crouch and jumped into the air with his clawed hand raised. Sasuke landed in a crouch and went under the airborne blonde, Kakashi blocking a slash from the blonde and his claw and the Uchiha with his kunai. Is that all? Kakashi asked. The 2 genin smirked. Oten. Shinju's Anshu no Jutsu. Kakashi's visible eye widened in bewilderment. He looked down to see 2 hands holding his ankles. I did not see that coming, Kakashi said. The next second the cycloptic Jonin was dragged underground up to his neck, Sakura rising up beside him. When did you learn that technique, Sakura? Kakashi asked. The Pinkat stuck her tongue out playfully when Naruto petted her head as she held up the bells. Naruto Nai helped me with it. Huh, well then, good job my little Genin. Kakashi gave his infamous eye smile just as the timer went off, scaring the birds from the nearby trees, but you still don't have the bells. The bells in Sakura's hand went up in a puff of smoke. Now if you'll J. The cycloptic Jonin was interrupted by Naruto placing his clawed hand on his head. It's not over just yet, remember that technique I told you about? Kakashi's eye widened in slight fear seeing the blonde grin evilly. You wouldn't. Oh, I would and will. Naruto made a single hand sign, Akumuten Jinjutsu. Akumu no Yaoi Icha Icha, nightmare release illusion technique. Nightmare of boys love makeout paradise. Sakura got a slight nosebleed, while Sasuke blushed profusely. Kakashi looked as if he was going to cry before he fell into a coma-like state. And now we wait, Naruto said with a grin. Kakashi's nightmare. Well, where am I? Kakashi said, his voice echoing through the darkness he was currently floating in. He saw something bright floating towards him. Asp, Icha Icha. He giggled as he swam through the nothingness towards the book. Once he got in his hand, he cringed. Yaoi version. Go away. Kakashi tried to throw the book away, but it continued to float towards him. He tried to paddle away, but shadow hands came from the darkness and kept him in place. Hold on a second. What the hell is going on? Kakashi yelled. The book floated in front of his face and opened to page 1. He tried to turn his head away, but hands faced him towards the book. Wait, what are you doing? Kakashi asked in a shaken voice. The hands moved his hideate, revealing his other eye, forcibly opening it to reveal a Sharingan. Copy we lie. It started moving of its own accord, reading through the first page. Kakashi continued to struggle harder and harder against his bindings. No. Please stop this. The words are being burned into my brain. No. Stop reading, damn it. Kakashi screamed his lungs out. Do we pass? It was Naruto's voice echoing in the darkness. Yes. I'll never be late again. I'll be the best sensei ever. Just let me out. Kakashi cried. I am going to hold you to that. Reality. And 3 2 1 release. Naruto snapped his fingers and Kakashi sat up quickly. He just looked at his feet before him. He curled up into a ball, shaking with his knees to his chest. I think you broke him, dope. Sasuke deadpanned. Kakashi cried in I'm tears. Icha betrayed me, sob, he mumbled. Naruto sighed and his hand was surrounded by an ethereal white glow. He placed it on Kakashi's head. What are you doing? Sakura inquired. Erasing bad memories, he's had enough, Naruto said. Where did the dope of all people learn techniques like this? He always sucked at Jinjutsu, and he just used one that crippled an experienced Jonin. What else is he hiding? Sasuke thought, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together in his head. Naruto took his hand away, and the glow disappeared and offered to help the Jonin to his feet. Kakashi blinked a couple times and accepted. Thanks, Naruto. No problem, sensei. So, do we pass? Naruto asked, his grip tightening on the Jonin's hand. Kakashi could feel his bones start to grind against one another. He just gave his eye smile like nothing was wrong. Well, you 3 weren't able to get the bells, you showed excellent teamwork, which is what this test was really about, so yeah, you pass. Team 7 starts its first mission tomorrow at 6 AM, Kakashi said, giving them a thumbs up. Naruto and Sakura high-fived while Sasuke smirked. Maybe being a sensei won't be so bad. Sigh, now I have to find that How to Teach for Dummies guidebook, Kakashi thought as he looked at his team. The Megacur. Water. I don't like water, Jason thought as he stumbled through the darkened, drenched streets of the village of Megacur. The seemingly never-ending downpour came down hard on the industrialized village. The masked giant could see people standing in the darkness but paid them no mind. Don't like water. Jason grabbed the nearest thing to him, which was a wooden pillar under a shop canopy, tearing it out and going berserk, throwing it through the second-story windows of an apartment building. Hey, what the hell is your PR? The man was interrupted by grabbing both sides of his head and ripping him in two to his chest, his brain hitting his heart on the way down. Water? No, like water. Jason thought. He went berserk and throwing whatever he could get his hands on. 2 aim ninja came down from above. Suiton. Sahachi. Water release. Hand of waves. Jason was hit hard in the chest with a jet of water from one of the AIM shinobi, while the other jumped on Jason's back, repeatedly stabbing him. They're trying to kill you, my son, hurt them. Yes, mom. My Jason ran forward despite the stabbings, raising his machete to strike. What the hell? The shinobi had no time to react and was decapitated by the masked giant. Sachi. The other shinobi yelled. Jason reached back and threw the AIM shinobi into a wall, pinning him to the wall with a knife through his head and heart. Still, that was the one thing on Jason's mind. Jason started running through the streets. He swung his machete, decapitating 2 civilians. A group of shinobi jumped down from the buildings and chased after him. Suiton. Sagandon. Water release. Water fang bullet. Suiton. Sahachi. Jason didn't look back as he was bombarded by powerful jets of water and water bullets. He stopped and grabbed a large metal pillar and tore it from its foundation and swung on the shinobi, smashing 5 against a wall in an explosion of blood and brain matter. The others had managed to escape the swing. Jason thought as ran the machete through a shinobi's stomach and repeatedly started stabbing him. Jason stopped and grabbed his head and threw him through an apartment window. Jason cut metal pipes running into the ground and steam poured out. The aim shinobi launched more suitan techniques, but the masked murderer was gone. Alert the border patrol and other squads. We cannot let that maniac escape. The squad leader yelled, the rest nodded and scattered to do their jobs. From high above in the center building, an orange-haired man looked down at the carnage on the street, his purple eyes carefully following the murderer as he ran through alleyways. Conan, give the border guards false information, let him be, the man said in a stoic voice, not letting Jason escape his sights. He could see the giant of a man slay 3 more people, spilling blood onto the already liquid-drenched streets. A woman with blue hair pulled into a bun in the back, orange eyes and flawless skin, looked on at the village below beside the orange-haired man. Pain Sama, are you sure? Yes, it is part leader Sama's plan, the man known as Pain said. The brunette nodded and from her back came wings made of paper, lines appearing across her skin. With a single flap she took off into the darkened sky towards the border. You sounded as though you doubt my plan, Pain. The orange-haired man turned to see the black-cloaked figure with scorpion and pyramid head behind him. I do not. Leader Sama, was the control successful on the 2 of them? Pain inquired. Yes, it took some time, but they're under my complete control, though Scorpion may fight against every now and again, said the cloaked figure, lowering his hood to reveal an orange spiral mask with a single eye hole. Wouldn't that become hazardous in his battles? Pain asked. Possibly, but we won't know until he has an opportunity to fight. How is little Jason? He's still running. Conan has gone to give the border patrol false information to allow him to escape, the orange-haired man said. The masked man chuckled. Very good. With Jason, the giant of a man crashed through the stone wall border of a megacar and kept running, his every step leaving an impression in the muddy ground, pieces of paper coming by, and the trail disappeared. Mommy is proud of you, Jason, very proud. There is someone important you need to kill. He escaped you last time, but he has nowhere to escape to this time, the voice in his head said. Jason kill. He kept running, bounding through a shallow river. Jason kill. Fred die. Jason kill Freddy. Ahahahaha. The giant of a man swung a machete, severing the arm of Freddy Krueger, severing the other after that. Both arms regenerated quickly and the fight continued. Freddy set the man on fire, but the machete wielder kept coming. Freddy unleashed a quick barrage of punches and slashes, jumping up and kneeing him in the sternum and bringing an elbow down on his head at the same time. That all you got, bitch? Freddy said, only to be sent flying into a water tower by a kick to his stomach, the machete wielder throwing a metal spear in the ground and impaling the dream demon through the stomach. Later Jason. Ahahaha. Freddy disappeared. Jason kill Freddy. The man slashed the machete. Reality. Ah. Naruto woke with a start again, his heart racing, his chest heaving with every breath he took. He blinked a couple times and covered his eyes as the sun peeked out from behind a cloud and shined through his blinds right into his eyes. He swung his legs over the side. What the fuck was that? The blonde said to himself. Rubbing the sleep from his eyes, he jumped up and started to stretch. Did I think those sequences were Freddy's memories? Kyuubi said. How is that possible? Naruto thought. Well, the dream demons were a part of Freddy, and when I transferred their powers to you, I guess some memories came with them, Kyuubi said. Naruto dropped into push-ups while he continued his conversation with the fox demon. Any idea what that thing with the machete was? Naruto asked in between his push-ups. He's familiar, but I'm bad with putting names to faces, Kyuubi said. I heard Freddy say Jason, if that helps, Naruto said. Do you have any idea how many Jasons there are in hell, kid? Naruto cut the mental conversation short and hopped up and went into the kitchen to prepare his breakfast. Jason sounds familiar to me too, he mumbled. After eating his breakfast, he got his clothes and tied his tie and donned his hat, sealing the claw away in his palm seal and putting the sword hilt under his belt. I have a bad feeling about this, Naruto thought as he closed the door behind him. What if Naruto snaps at Hiruzen council bashing? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.